It's okay. Off your mind. It's okay. Off your mind.
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don't off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go summer us, call them hate speech. But fear not, Mayegun don't come. Ingo torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, oh yo yo. Mayegun don't come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. Mayegun don't come, oh yo yo. Mayegun don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. Mayegun don't come, oh yo yo. Mayegun diary political, oh yo yo. Mayegun don't come, oh yo yo. This one not the off in mind, oh yo yo. Mayegun don't come, oh yo yo. Can in the touchlight every corner, oh yo yo. Mayegun don't come, oh yo yo. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Chai, them be promise us say we go get light and power. Them hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over naira. See them talk say make we off mind, but thank God say Mayegun don't come. So my people make you loud, oh yo yo. Mayegun don't come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. Mayegun don't come, oh yo yo. Mayegun don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. Mayegun don't come, oh yo yo. Mayegun diary political, oh yo yo. Mayegun don't come, oh yo yo. This one not they off in mind, oh yo yo. Mayegun don't come, oh yo yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that Mayegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Mayegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we not talk. But thank God say Mayegun don't come. So my people make you loud, oh yo yo. Mayegun don't come, oh yo yo. My people make you shout, oh yo yo. Mayegun don't come, oh yo yo. Mayegun don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. Mayegun don't come, oh yo yo. Mayegun diary political, oh yo yo. Mayegun don't come, oh yo yo. This man not the off in mind, oh yo yo. Mayegun don't come, oh yo yo. Aha. Naimu.
Hello there.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Mayegun Live.
Ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí.
Share this broadcast. Invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends. Tag them wherever they are. Like the broadcast. Read the caption of the broadcast. Read the description as well. Then you can sit back, relax, and watch.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Mayegun diary political.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Does anybody here watching me right now have any recent video or voice or image of Tinubu in the last 5 days? Do you have any recent one? Maybe not. Thank you.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ra kì í.
Mayegun ti dé.
Mayegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ra kì í.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ra kì í.
Mayegun ti dé.
Lórí Facebook,
Thank you very much. I know a lot of you in the last 6 months, I believe, you have been watching Mayegun's Diary Political on a set time. Now, our time has changed in the UK. So, which means 8 o'clock here in the UK. 8 o'clock in Nigeria is 8 o'clock in the UK right now. You might need to adjust your time an hour back a bit, especially if you are watching from outside Nigeria and you usually use Nigeria time. 8 p.m. Nigeria time is 8 p.m. UK time now. So a lot of people are not going to join until an hour time, but share the broadcast. Nigeria, another scam loading. That should have been the rider for this broadcast tonight. But I was in a hurry. So I just put that out as the rider, which is Nigeria and 2023 census. I don't know how many of you actually know that Nigeria is planning to conduct a census in this 2023 as well. I'll tell you about it. And I'll tell you the politics behind it, as well as the rigging system behind their census and why Nigeria will remain underdeveloped, divided, and corrupt and poor. Then, while I was trying to put my old content together, then I saw the news. They said Tinubu is postponing his colloquium. Now, every year for the past 20 years, Kolu has been organizing a special birthday for himself, where there is other, like Alibaba and 40 Thieves, right? Those who have benefited from his political largesse in that criminal organization. So they come around to eulogize him, to praise him, and to tell good things about him. Now, for the first time, before now, is welcome the former president, current governors, political office holders who have all milled around him and then praised him to high heaven for whatever political gain they've had from him. So this is the first time he is the president-elect. This is supposed to be the first time that or an opportunity, so to say, that he can actually bring all of the political backers of his and his whole clan together to celebrate him that, he's brought the crown home. But somehow, Tinubu had to tell them, listen, that's not Tinubu. Somebody they released a statement. And in that statement, they said, Tinubu said, there is no birthday for me this year. I want everybody to go and pray for Nigeria. Okay? Just pray for Nigeria. That is all I ask of you. Where is he? We don't know. And don't worry. You don't have to worry yourself. So there's not going to be, that's suspicious. I'm going to talk about that tonight. I've got other things that I'm going to share with you tonight, including the ongoing and endless protests in Abuja and across Nigeria. Majority of them are not really getting the real coverage they should get. And that is why some of you probably feel like, the whole thing is gone, Jare, it's over. It's not. It is not. In fact, I have understand why the mind of the winners in Nigeria fraudulent charade election are unable to celebrate openly. I'll tell you about that too when time permits. But guess what? After spending over 200 billion naira to conduct the worst of the worst elections in Nigeria, Nigeria is planning to spend almost 1.8 billion. That's over 1 trillion naira. But on budget, they want to spend over, almost 200 billion as well for personnel to count people in Nigeria. So they're going to need, it's going to cost them $8 to count you as Nigerian, okay? Now, another avenue of looting. Now, should we start from there, or should I start from the smaller ones that I can quickly speak on, or, and move on to the big one? Right, let's start from the smaller one. Do you know, well, it's not that small, okay? But it's like an announcement. Do you remember Dr. Chinelo Megafu that was killed during the Kaduna Abuja rail attack? Do you remember? Okay, well, do you remember that a year ago today, the Boko Haram terrorists, they attacked a passenger train going from Kaduna to Abuja, where this young 24-year-old doctor was shot. And what made her a kind of symbol of that horrific incident is this. When she was shot, she was able to post online, tweeted, and said, why people were talking about the attack, whether it was an attack or whether it was a rumor, she tweeted, I have been shot. Please pray for me. That's all she asked. And guess what? The APC, Egbekegbe trolls, the cold-hearted, suffering and smiling wearies, they started attacking her simply because by reading her name, she must be Igbo, who hates Nigeria, who hates Boko Haram and the APC, who just wanted to tarnish the image of Nigeria. If they shot you, would you be able to use your phone? Then he ended up as being true. I won't be able to show you the image of Chinelo. She's working in Kaduna as a dentist. She's working and serving the people of Kaduna, who probably who were having if you had a health problem right now, let's say for example, right, you have an health crisis, you need blood transfusion, you've got this endless pain, right, and then you need to see your dentist. When you get there, right, you're not going to ask if the dentist is Igbo, Yoruba, if he's Christian or Muslim. When you are going through that pain, you know that if they have to transfuse or to transmit a blood into you to save you, you are not going to ask them if that blood they are going to transmit into your system, into your own bloodstream. If that blood is that of Igbo blood, Yoruba blood, Christian blood, or Muslim blood. But Nigeria failed her that day. So Chinelo cried for help, but she got scorn, hate, abuse, and immediately they discovered that it was true. They started deleting every horrible things they said about her, and they disappeared. So God rest her soul. Now, for those who are still here, remember Agbajalingo, this journalist. This journalist has been in and out of prison in Nigeria simply because he took the rulers of Cross River states to the cleaners, exposing their corruption and standing by his story. Now, would you believe that Nigeria, or should I say, Cross River State, is charging him, the governor of Cross River State, is charging him for treason simply because he criticized and exposed the corruption of the governor's in-law. Agbajalingo severally got court judgments that he should be freed and even paid compensation. Agbajalingo, a victim of Nigeria injustice, yesterday is being tried for treason, for criticizing the in-law, brother-in-law to the governor of Cross River States, and he's been sent to Kuje prison for that. This is the story of Nigeria and more. You get that? So, this old man, we don't know where he is right now. Nobody will tell you that the president-elect of Nigeria currently is receiving medical care outside Nigeria. They called it rest. However, there have been speculations, okay, that somehow it will take enough medical attention to keep pumping Tinubu to appear in public. Now, even if it sounded like a kind of too late, yeah, but somehow, if he succeed and is sworn in as your president in Nigeria, ladies and gentlemen, this will be your reality. But we'll come back to that. Nigeria is about to count our citizens. And according to them, it will cost them $1.8 billion to count 200 million people or more. Now, India has a population of 1.3 billion. Using technology or digital sensor to count the people is the modern thing, but I'll come back to that too. Well, we'll go into that in a moment. So if population is the reason why Nigeria, a poor country, corrupt country, with no reliable, verifiable, or dependable data that you can trace to her, it is always business or jobs or food for the boys. Indonesia, India, Pakistan, Brazil, and their population and what they spent in counting their citizens. Now, let me tell you the politics behind census in Nigeria, okay? This is for those of you who are innocent when it comes to some of these things. What is the dust that Mayegun is going to raise about census again? What have they done wrong again? Or what I mean, is it not, is census not for planning, development, and every other thing that a serious country should do? Of course, that's the normal definition of census, right? You get to know the number of people living in a particular place at a particular time, at least long enough for the past 10 years of their lives. Therefore, the government and then even businesses and almost everyone can use this data to plan for every area according to the people living there. Now, what does that mean? Census is a way of categorizing and understanding your country. And you have to do something. You have to be very, very honest with it. Or else, it's a pure waste of time. Just like your elections. Somebody told me, Mayegun, Nigeria shouldn't be conducting elections. I mean, it's pure waste of life, waste of resources. This one they said they conducted, right? Over 32 people died violently because of elections. Billions and billions of your money went down the drain because of election that is already rigged. Ridiculous. Abi? Now, you want to count your people to know who is where and doing what. So what census does is that my name is Olushola Badero, right? I am 39 years old and I have no disability. So I will tell you about my educational qualifications. Am I currently working or not? Am I self-employed or not? And then, am I a Christian or a Muslim? I will choose not to say. Oh, where do you currently live? I live at number 14, Itunshoku Quarters, Odogbolu. Okay. Oh, my name is Aje Igbe Olatunji. I am 26 years old, graduate. I have no job presently, and I live with my parents. The reason for all this data is because when you have them, you can be able to know how much of your population are of this youthful age. How many are children? How many are elderly? How many people are currently working? How many are pensioners? And you see all these details, right? We eventually give you the, what is called the forensic. No, is it called forensic, or should I call it like an X-ray? So where are those who are more educated and then unemployed? What is the level of their education and all that? Then how can you start planning? When you have children, and the number says this is the number of children you have in Nigeria, and these are of school age. How many schools do you have in that community where you have this number of children? Can the number of schools in this community serve the number of children born in that community? What is the birth rate? What is the death rate in that community? What are the basic amenities lacking and needed to provide for that number of people there? That is what is called census. In Nigeria, it is the opposite. It is a fraud, manipulation put in place by political criminals, as well as the civil servants, as well as everyone who understands why census, like election, is also a game of number. Do you know why? Census in Nigeria determines how many local governments you should have. Maybe they should create more states for more criminal politicians to emerge. Oh, how much should they give to you every month, allocation from Abuja based on your population? Oh, what else can we give to you politically? If you have this number, okay, can you use that as a political negotiation leverage? This is what their census is all about in Nigeria. It's not about how can we provide electricity for this certain number? How can we power industrial development and revolution in this particular part of the country? How can we develop rail transportation and every other transportation means of transportation to serve this number of people and yield this particular development and return and possibly give them better lives? They don't plan census that way. Okay? So, and that is why when they manufacture number about Kano is 30 million people, everybody just agree and say, yeah, they have always been more. Northern Nigeria as well. But when you say do it digitally, do you know how you do that? A serious country would naturally, this age and time would naturally digitalize their birth and death registration to start with. That is a country that really want to change anything. No? Sure, you get. You will start with when you are born. If I go online to a particular birth website, you will see the numbers of children that are being born every minute, every hour. You can do that now. There is a website that can tell you how many people are being born and dying per country every minute all over the world. But a country that's not why you know what they do. Once they count, they manufacture the numbers. You will see Kano, Dagangiwa, 25 million. You know why? Because in 1980, Kano was, I'm just using some of the way they manufacture their numbers so for you to understand and why there is no real development, because nobody can really tell how many people are actually residing in every state in Nigeria. Majority of the numbers are what? Bogus. And politicians can just wake up and say, okay, I'm just going to construct road. Oh, yeah, start demolishing houses. I think we should have road here. Oh, I think we should have bridge here. Sure you get. And some of you be like, what about all these places that are so dirty? Look at our market. Can you not fix them where you are generating money? Because they have no idea how important the numbers are, because they have no idea who lives where. In all honesty, they don't care. So they can sit down and say, in 1980, Lagos was 2 million and Kano was 3 million. So that makes sense. Now then you can just say in 1990 or 20 years later, in year 2000, then automatically you can, if Lagos is 10 million, then let's say Kano is 15 then. And you say, yeah, it's true. There are so many. If you look at them, if you go to all these Borno, you go to all these places, you will, you know that. So over time, they have done something very successfully, and they will do it again. Apart from the money they don't have, that they would have to, go and either print the money or go and borrow it and then loot it and give you a bogus number that has nothing to do with development at all. You will see, what do you call it? It will all come back when they manufacture the number, when they finish manufacturing the numbers. Then it will all come down to how much should we then give Kano with 44 local governments? And then Lagos, how much should we give Lagos with a 20 local government? Well, that settles it. 44 local governments, we need to take care of more people. So in Nigeria, where they rob Peter to pay Paul, the reason why they do all of that is because when in Nigeria, when they take all money from everywhere and put them in a jar, the only sharing formula is by population, not by what you contribute. It is by population. So if they say Nasarawa has 13 local governments, Bayelsa has 13 local governments. Nasarawa is small, but it's in the north. Bayelsa is also small, but it's in the south. So if you have to do it right in Nigeria context, Nasarawa can be like 2 million people, and then Bayelsa can just be about 1 million people. But here is the target. Bayelsa may contribute $1 billion into Nigeria's cover, that cookie jar. Nasarawa may contribute just $10,000. Listen, I'm not joking. No, $10,000 from Nasarawa. Bayelsa, $1 billion. So when it is time to share, Nasarawa with the same 13 local governments and the Bayelsa with the same 13, by population, they would have to take more than them. Until Bayelsa started bombing pipeline. So they now manufactured something. Yeah, we are taking 100% of your resources. And we are sharing that with everybody, including the North, right? So what will happen is this: we'll give you 13% of that, and we'll call it derivation formula. That's fair for you. And that is Nigeria context of counting people. And in this case, it will cost Nigeria $8 to count each person based on their current projected population, that maybe they will be up to 250 million. So 250 million people, according to them, it will take them $8. Some people said they should give us the money and we'll count ourselves. But technologically, all you have to do, if you have a voter's card, if you have driver's license, if you have a national insurance that they give, is it called national insurance number, NIN, Abi? If you have a bank account, you know why all of these are valid IDs, but not in Nigeria? Because of the fraud that they deliberately created to allow what you are witnessing to continue from generation to generation, right? When you register to be a driver, you added an address, verification. When you open a bank account, you have an address, attached as verification. When you sign up for your NIN, you have an address as what? Verification. When you register to vote to get your voter's card from them, at least, according to them, 91 million of you have voter's card with a number assigned to you. That should be in your data, Nigeria data pool, Abi. It should ordinarily just be there, Abi. No, it's not. Because everybody built their own shop to milk you, not to better your life. And that's why we are saying, if there's anything to solve Nigeria wahala, don't conduct census, conduct referendum. Ask Nigerians directly. Ask all the ethnic nationalities there. Ask them if they still want to be part of Nigeria or not. And if they want to be, under what condition, arrangement, something that actually defines boundaries. But Nigeria is not ready for that. Therefore, this abracadabra. So they will manufacture their numbers eventually, and then it will all come down to just same thing, just more money for those who now know that well, as long as Nigeria exists, the dominance, which is not actually serving anyone to start with. Okay, let's go back to this. 213 million people. A digitalized sensor means you could just go online. Sure, you get. Just go online. A secure country's website is enough for you to go on and put on your registration to get counted. And you get verified by any of their choosing verification lines. And with that, you don't even have to pay anybody to count people. But it is Nigeria. You know, when they promised you this fraudulent election and they were mouthing technology, and a lot of you thought they were for real. They weren't for real. They were fraud. Okay? Now, they promised heaven and earth. With technology, nobody can rig your election. Nobody can manipulate this or that. Because they are the only one who can do that. And they just did. They just did. Which in itself, right, has further weakened, if not completely destroyed, whatever little trust some of you were putting up on Nigeria, so to say. Right? $1.8 billion. That's over 1 trillion naira. Labaramaku, who happened to be from that Nasarawa I used as an example earlier, he was saying something about the crime that INEC committed and is still committing, carrying the whole country, Mugu, and daring them saying, what are you going to do about it? Like, what are you going to do about, do your worst? In his words, Labaran.
Force other than this group must rule Nasarawa State. So that's what happened. If you go to IRF, you will notice that in the accreditation for Chiroma and Gayam Ward, there are different figures for the House of Assembly and the governorship. But it's the same beaver that was used. How can you suddenly, 2 elections announced? The one for the House of Assembly has different figures of accreditation, and the ones for the governorship. But it's the same accreditation, the same number of people that voted in the governorship election, as those that voted in the House of Assembly election. But if you go to the IRF and you go to the back end and you see they are different from what was announced. This was simply brazen and criminal. Do your worst. That is what they were telling us. We'll add the figures, will announce it. Do your worst. So that so-called wide lead is not. Look at what happened. What did the APC get in the presidential election? What was the votes of APC in the presidential election? For example, look at the gap between what they voted in the presidential election and what they got in the governorship. That is one. Number 2, in this election, PDP defeated Sule in his local government, in Akwanga local government. We defeated him flatly. We defeated him in his ward. We defeated him in Akwanga zone, which is his own zone. Then we defeated him in Doma local government, in Obi local government. These are huge population centers. Then we defeated him in Karu. Where are they cooking those figures from? Very clearly, you will notice that this was the most brazen act of criminality I've seen in any election. That people suddenly just go and use 3-4 units and add to their figures and just announce. Those figures are simply fiction. They don't agree with the total accreditation for election in Latvia local government, in Gayam, in Chiroma. So that is what they were doing. It had nothing to do with the real votes cast by the people. If you want to do that, go to IRF. You will see the gap between what they declared and what actually took place in the election proper.
It's hard to discountenance your submission that Nasarawa is a curious state, Mr. Marco. But then again, why was the PDP unable to prove its mettle with Nasarawa being its home base in the presidential election? Because the PDP was defeated in the presidential election in Nasarawa state.
But APC was even more defeated. APC had a national chairman in the election from Nasarawa state. They had a sitting incumbent government in Nasarawa state. They were flatly defeated. Because, you see, what happened in the presidential election, as you could see, was that there was this wave, of obedience of young people that we all took for granted. And we were thinking that Peter Obi was a joke. Where will he go? So both PDP and APC, we were thinking, no, this man, he doesn't have structures. He will not be able to do much, and so on. So, but the people somehow, young people, seized the initiative from all the politicians. And for the first time, what we saw in Nasarawa, in several other places, in Edo, in Delta, where the vice president comes from, we saw that the young people were serious about what they were doing, and they took advantage of the social media, to project a program that has shaken the nation. For me, we lost. We lost in the presidential election. We lost truly. APC, which is the incumbent government, lost more woefully than we did. Who had the government, who have the party in the state, they all lost. So you can't use the presidential election to judge what will happen. We didn't win, but on the...
So the bottom line is that if Nigeria was a country, yeah, and people are allowed to express themselves the way they want to without any intimidation or harassment, number one, there are so many things that they would disprove. There are so many myths, some of them created, political myth and all that would have been destroyed if they were allowed. But because they've waged violence to stop them and the rest, and it's still a problem for them right now as we speak, it might have altered the further exposure of Nigeria's deep state, the corrupt deep state in Nigeria, and how much of a myth some of them are living on, or should I say, living on the created fear that if people were truly allowed, same thing with this sense of nonsense. Nigeria couldn't conduct elections. Nigeria couldn't conduct elections. APC couldn't even rig election successfully. Do you know how bad that is? Now, take a look at this. So, let's take the money out. I've told you the political side of their census. It's not for you. It's not in your interest. It's just about who can write the biggest figure and then get it accepted into their own system so that they can get paid more. And when they get paid more, that doesn't come to you. It goes straight to the criminal office holders in your different states. But Nigeria couldn't conduct elections 63 years after independence. So that same Nigeria is about to also run another most fraudulent and the most rejected population census figures in Nigeria history. And this is something about them. Something that somehow, if you like them, if you like APC and anyway, okay, you are 100% likely going to be so blind to some of these things, and it's understandable. Okay, some of you, until you become victims, you never will believe anything is happening at all. In fact, injustice, where are you seeing injustice? Everybody is just crying. They are sore losers, this and that. You can ignore all of the obvious, but do you know something about APC, Egbe? That everything they touch dies. Every institution that they touch turned to smoke. I am not saying that they met this great system when they came in. But have you noticed that when they touched the defense, it collapsed. And majority of you are now at the mercy of the terrorists paying ransom. When they touched your economy, Nigeria entered recession 3 times and hasn't recovered to date. When they touched your military, your police, they turned them into murder weapon like never seen before. I saw police shooting people on the street like this during NSAS. People that are not even coming to them, or people inside their shops, so police were shooting on the streets. They turned them into murderers. Maybe you haven't noticed. When they touched the judiciary, it became more toothless. They are only good at giving orders, issuing orders, court order, court judgment. But APC, Egbekegbe, turned the judiciary to what? A joke. APC touched everything and they destroyed them. Look at your own elections. It should be getting better, Abi. It's getting worse. So now they are about to touch your census. APC touched your oil industry and they destroyed it completely. It is under them that oil thieves with heavy, mighty vessels are loading Nigeria crude oil on Nigeria waters, and they are staying there for weeks. 700,000 barrels of crude oil stolen every day for 7.5 years. Election was just about a month to election. Suddenly they discovered one. They found the oil thieves. Oh, thank God. Now let's take a look at who are those who are buying the oil from them. Who are the owners? Who is the owner of the vessel? Who are those working on the vessel? Now bring them out and do investigation. 3 days after that, they set the whole vessel ablaze. So then burn them down. They destroyed the evidence. To this day, story. 700,000 barrels of crude oil stolen from Nigeria every day for 7.5 years. Do the number. 700,000 every day for 10 days. That's 7 million. For 10 days, that's 7 million. For 10 days, that's 7 million. They are stealing 21 million barrels of crude oil from Nigeria every month. 21 million times 12. 221 million plus 42 million. That's a 264 million, I think. In a year, 260 million barrels of Nigeria crude oil every year for 7 years. 6 times 7, 42. Jesu, 4.2 billion barrels of Nigeria crude oil was stolen. Now, this is not $4.2 billion, so 4.2 billion barrels of Nigeria crude oil stolen in 7.5 years, plus or minus. Now, you can begin to multiply them by each barrel. Multiply 1 barrel by minimum of $70. Now, multiply 4.5 billion or 4.2 billion barrel of crude oil times $70. Then you will see what they have done to you. Then they found one. They found one tank, one vessel, 1 month to elections. And they destroyed it. That's what they did to you. Everything they touched, they destroyed. They touched justice, they destroyed it. They touched the security, they make all of us unsafe. And it's getting worse. Now there are people, they are surprised that people are not going to be with them. I am just giving you this number just for you to just imagine what they have done to you, what that could have done for Nigeria. Nigeria is in debt of over $120 billion right now. $120 billion APC. They destroyed your Naira, turned it into tissue papers. Now they decided to recolor it. They dipped your Naira inside coloring. And they say, yeah, we have rebranded the Naira. But the value trash. That's what they did. Don't forget. So now they conducted an election. That the whole country is just in turmoil.
When I remember those buying water on our way, me, when I remember my country, water on our way, me, water on our way, me, water on our way, me, water on our way,
When I remember waiting and just do me, water run out. If I water no fit come for my eyes again, because my eye water is dry. So when you see some of us smile or laugh, it's not because we found this like hilarious or humorous. It's because in Yoruba land they say, when situation pass crying, you will begin to laugh. That's exactly what Nigeria is. You begin to laugh. They say, yeah, jensa fun gbomo, which they run away from kidnapper. What happened? Because everything don't turn over his head. A lot of things that you would never imagine are happening, and people are just like, so are you laughing, sir? No, I'm not laughing. No, don't think I'm laughing. No, I am crying inside. That's how so many people actually see Nigeria, with what shege they have come across. So I next said, she was saying, what can you do? Somebody where they work at, the way Nigeria has become, elections, not census yet, elections, Person they work out, I saw people, they say, like, he can never be my president. Tinubu, I told you, it's not like it's calm.
Tinubu cannot be a president in this country. Let's go. Yes. Tinubu cannot be a Tinubu, I say, take my picture. Yes, Tinubu cannot be a president in this country. Yes. Hallelujah. We must take our man back. Solidarity, hallelujah. Solidarity, hallelujah. Solidarity, hallelujah. We must take our man back.
Nigeria is so corrupt, which I regret the day I was born in this country. It's unfair. This is unfair now. This is unfair. Nigeria is so.
And this is where they are already taking all of you. Hang on. like I said before, some of you joined, okay? I know a lot of you are just going to be joining now. I heard a lot of you are also saying you didn't receive notification, especially on YouTube, okay? Now, what happened is YouTube algorithm, maybe it's also changing weather and changing time, but our time changed in the UK. Remember that it used to be 8 p.m. in the UK, 9 p.m. in Nigeria, right? So a lot of you set your time to Nigeria time, even when you are watching from the US or watching from all over the world. Now, this is the time for you to go and check your notification again. Okay? 8 p.m. UK time is 8 p.m. Nigeria time. Sure you get now. So we are now on the same time zone. Sorry that some of you have been so used to that 9 p.m. Nigeria time, 8 p.m. UK time. No, now it is 8 p.m. So check your notifications, set them up, and you will never miss anything henceforth, okay? Until, I think it's going to be until October. Until October 2023, our time will remain the same. So check it, check your notification, leave the comment zone, okay? And in fact, right, if you are watching on YouTube right now, we are over 2,000 of us right now in the, in the sermon. Do you mind leaving that comment section and go on there to drop your offerings to show that you are here? Like that broadcast and then, like the video and take it further, okay? So let's go back to census. Now we know what the election has been and what it is still likely going to lead to, okay? And why APC, Egbekegbe that won an election, are still paying people 3,000 naira, 2,000 naira to go and protest in Abuja. You saw why? Because a lot of people are like, they're just, some are waiting for court to say Tinubu should go to jail and he won't be president, right? Others are waiting for them to say, no, go and do another election. Others are waiting for them to say, no, Tinubu won and he should go and continue. Tinubu himself is currently receiving his own jag, pump up in France. Maybe he's going to come back to the UK to recover. Then after that, very soon, you are going to see him in Saudi Arabia. And Ramadan Kareem, by the way, to all my Muslim brethren in the temple, Ramadan Kareem, to all of you. So yeah, he's going to go for lesser Hajj when they finish the whole packaging, when they believe that they can pop him up. Now, this whole thing is just giving you the Buhari vibe. Sure you get. And that's not a good vibe. Okay? Again, I'm not here to change your mind, especially those of you who are Lagos Abobakus or Abrodian Buhari idiots. I'm not here to change your mind. I'm just telling you that this is giving you the Bokuwari's vibes again. And indeed, you would have to live with stories that are always going to come out and say, well, Tinubu, you don't get stroke for France. So Tinubu fell off aircraft in Berlin. They don't rush him to Saudi Arabia. You are going to have to get used to them. Fake news. But inside your mind, you will be praying that, may God not let them be true, Sha. God not let them be true. You know, that's how majority of those who were supporting Bokuwari for 7.5 years. Hypertension. They are always hungry, looking for something to make them feel like, hey, this is why I supported Bokuwari. This is the change I voted for, because it is everyday bad news. Death, debt, insecurity, joblessness, poverty, corruption, oppression, protest, this every day. So they are always looking online for any small good news. Some of them come to me. Mayegun, don't you see anything good at all to tell us? Are you saying that these people don't have any good thing at all? I was like, if you know them, why are you asking me? How about you open social media is so free? There are so many people who wanted to hear the good news, the good thing, and how much of that good thing is affecting. How many people that thing is affecting? And how many people are the bad thing is pushing further and further to their death or poverty and on and on and on. So you too, you can go and open a YouTube. But you know what? They don't get many. They don't get at all. If they want to think of anything good, by the time they come onto Mayegun's diary political, and Mayegun begin to explain that fraudulent, this guy is good, it could come be like that they spoil their happiness. I mean, look at we have gotten a new rail from Lagos to Ibadan. Is that not a good thing? Oh, it is. Just pray that they are able to pay back the Chinese, or else they will take it over. You just have to go and learn how to speak Mandarin. Nothing bad. You just start speaking Chinese without going to China, simply because the criminals in your country used you as a collateral to build railway that is substandard, under a strenuous debt repayment that they won't pay. They won't. Sure, you get. And they believe that if they don't pay, the people can come and control the whole thing, and you can go and learn Chinese. But they built it now. Of course. I just gave you a number earlier. 4.2 billion barrels of crude oil. Multiply 4.2 billion barrels times $70. Somebody said his own calculator is producing error. Don't worry yourself. Let's do it this way. If you take 1 billion barrel and you multiply it by 70, what does that give you? No be $70 billion be that. That is 70 billion. Take another 1 billion, multiply it by $70. That's another $70 billion, Abi? Now, if you say $70 times 4 billion, that's $280 billion. Sure, you get $280 billion in 7.5 years. Okay. Now, if you round it up properly, it's going to be $300 billion. So Nigeria was producing crude oil. Other people are stealing the crude oil. They are selling it abroad. And in 7.5 years, some certain people made close to $300 billion. Let's even say, now them be thieves. They won't sell it at the full price. Let's say half price. $300 billion. So that means some people made $150 billion in that Nigeria, and their counterpart abroad, they made another $150 billion. Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world. Think about what $10 billion mean in Nigeria. Your naira, 700 naira, times 10 billion. 700, that will give you what? 7 trillion naira. 7 trillion naira. Just $10 billion, oh. 7 trillion naira. Your total budget in Nigeria currently is put at 22 trillion naira. 22 trillion. Now, from this money, for 7.5 years, your highest budget is this year's budget, 22 trillion naira. Okay. Now, begin to take 30 billion. 30 billion. So, for 5 years, you would have used the same 22 trillion in Nigeria. You will be using if you are using 22 trillion for this past 7.5 years. But even you think now, Nigeria will be what it is now. But the money didn't come to you. Your government allowed it for 7.5 years. The money went into private pockets. The people who are rich enough to even plan coup in Nigeria, rig election in Nigeria, do whatever they like. Do you understand what I mean? Do you? You don't. Oh, no more. You don't have to. I'm just giving you scenarios here. Okay? Nigeria is in debt of $120 billion. Nigeria could probably be just debt-free. All this Shinko, this and that, and then a locomotive train they are bringing to you in 2023. You could have used the same money to build yourself the fastest and the best trains. But it is Nigeria. Substandard is your right. Isn't it? Anything substandard, let's just have something. Is your right. And they know it. So look at that, what they've done to you in that 7.5 years. Just think about that. Think if Nigeria has $300 billion in your foreign reserve right now, not in private pockets. She naira go be 700 naira to $1. Say you go to use naira to buy naira. Now they want to do census. I have something for you, Igbo. I know a lot of people are telling you to forget what happened. You need to move on. You need to, you know what I mean? You need to get counted where you are. But you can't vote. You can't choose who actually controls the resources you are contributing outside your region. You are not even respected. Let me tell you something. The lies they have told my own people, and I believe they tell the same lies to a lot of us, from our different ethnic nationalities in Nigeria. Okay, the lies they've told my own people in a way is that you know, apart from the entitlement they given to few, miseducation and all the rest. Okay, so they made them believe, right, that being xenophobic is self-preservation. Do you get what I mean? Like, being xenophobic is that me, Mayegun, okay, I have no problem with anybody, whether you are Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, Fulani, wherever you come from, and I make sure on my platform I do my best to detoxify the minds of a lot of people about what they knew and how much of that what they knew is keeping them in bondage of hatred, even when they are fighting it within. On Mayegun's diary, political people comes clean. You know why? We know those who are contributing to our problems. We know those who are the engineers behind them. And we know the enablers, which some of us are. Category by category. Self-preservation is the empowerment that comes with your indigenous citizenship. In a confused contraption like Nigeria, it may be far-fetched, it may be impossible, but it is still very much like describable. Apart from the fact that if Nigeria is what it is not possible, okay? But self-preservation is still very much kind of possible for those who want to do that. And I'll give you an example. When you have people, young people, who are trained, educated, let's leave the kind of education. No, don't let us leave that. No. The type of education we were given is so important, isn't it? Right? So when you have this young population that have to scramble, right? To scramble for limited opportunities that were deliberately made limited. They are poor. And they were born into poverty. And every day of their life, they are reminded that they are poor. And whatever is going to help them to kind of bridge that gap of poverty, they'll do it in a system that they deliberately shrunk the opportunity window. So, well, you know what is called self-preservation? Self-preservation is when, even if the country is so corrupt, and you have the right people, the real people who love their people, who will invest in their people, because there lies the strength. I'll be back.
The election has gone. Gone. And the same zone demonstrated the same what they are doing until took the lead in terms of producing votes to our now president-elect and to our party, despite the fact that
I'll come back to him. I've got something to say about him as well. Okay. So the young people, the responsible leaders would invest in the young people, their education, right? Create a wealth, an ideal wealth creation system where people are, all you have to do is what? Just pick what you can do. It's there. Your road, your pathway to greatness, prosperity, start from what your nation have in stock for you, not you having to figure it out or having to run away if you have the chance. The young people in Yoruba land, the old people in Yoruba land, do you know this? Every hour in Yoruba land, research, statistics shows that every hour, 10 people are falling into poverty in Yoruba land. Isn't it obvious? And guess those who are mostly affected? Children. The criminal politicians are richer. There's so many states that they are actually controlling. And the people therein, You know the rest. But they will rather amplify them, weaponize them into a xenophobic state just to protect the interests of the jackass that don't give a damn about them. So if anybody says, it is an overreaction for the Igbos to say, let's go back home and get counted there. Get counted in your region. I did say something. I said, in Nigeria of today, despite all of the roadblocks, all the state-sponsored profiling, all of the attacks on the Igbos, direct and indirect, I mean the Cold War that will never end, they still kind of control more than 70% of the economic energy of Nigeria. Can you believe that? They control the banks, majority of the banks. They control majority of the importation in Nigeria. They control majority of the productions in Nigeria. Some of you may not know this. They do. And one way or the other, their involvement in the economic engineering of Nigeria, 70% of that lies on them. But they are never respected. I have never seen anyone from any ethnic nationality in Nigeria that is so disrespected, so disdained, to the point that it has become eye for an eye. An Igbo man will justify his rage, his anger, in fact, his own hatred and vileness towards the rest of Nigeria based on him of having enough. I've had enough. What is it? Why is it that and they are called overreactors? Oh, they are overreacting. Why are they overreacting? They don't respect Igbos in Nigeria. And in fact, it got to a stage whereby, after all we all know, that we all of us know, no respect for them, because the smallest thing everyone says is that they left their region to develop other people's region. If that is how good they are, then they should go back to their region. But it is so sad and unfortunate that the Nigeria that our heroes past said we were going to inherit is a Nigeria of xenophobia. And there is nothing wrong in telling the Igbos that even if you have not been thinking about it, there is no better time. You know why you are so unique? The only group of people or the only ethnic nationality in Nigeria that actually have a model, a system of wealth creation that could have helped the entire country if Nigeria was a real country, they are the Igbos. Let me tell you about them. It's only the Igbos that understands that it's by recreating wealth within clans that will actually end, right? Or at least reduce the poverty that is meant to be the destiny of Nigeria. A lot of you didn't see that, but let me tell you about that. In Igbo land, they call them traders. Oh, they are traders. They are this or that. But they run Nigeria economy. How? From before they got to that stage, Nigeria fought a bitter civil war. A genocide, if you want to call it. And over 5 million of them were slaughtered and killed by the Nigeria system. That's not the only thing they did. When the war started, a lot of all of their properties outside their region, many of them were never returned to them, which means even those who had money in the banks, they got all of their own investment, all their savings, everything. If they couldn't prove or give any evidence that they saved that money, they were offered 20 pounds sterling at the time. It doesn't matter if they had millions. But do you know how they recreated themselves? Fine. They started something that, from what I read, right, and seen, they pulled all what they were given together. They are 20 pounds shillings. I mean pounds. They put all of them together in different groups like that, and they gave them to somebody inside that group and say, you take this money, and we want you to invest it on our behalf. And guess what happened? They started providing the services that those who thought they had it all, the war didn't affect them. They started providing their services. And you know something? The moment they started getting returns, they had, I forgot the name they call it. Somebody should remind me, what is the name of that system in Igbo land? That you have to bring somebody into a business, teach them the line, tutor them, and then lecture them in a way, guide them until they are ready. Then you give them their own investment. Even if they choose to pursue the same business as you, it doesn't matter. And by so doing, in 50 years, the Igbos that were given, rising from the rumbles of the Civil War, the heart of that Civil War, the ruins and the destruction, they actually saw the entire Eastern region almost 90% destroyed. So they had to start building themselves, building roads by themselves, building shops and the market by themselves, building schools by themselves, building airports by themselves, and building hospitals by themselves, and making more investment, and also teaching themselves how to make more wealth. In 50 years after that war, they have now risen to the pinnacle of the economic structure of Nigeria. Isn't that an impressive story that should be taught in schools? Isn't that a system that should be reciprocated all over Nigeria? So they now brought all this money all over Nigeria. And the people that felt like they have been conquered somehow felt threatened again. Everywhere now them. It is just them. Always them. Everywhere they want to control everything. How did they come by to control everything? Because they rose from that time that they were like, they surrendered. You surrendered. You say, okay, we surrendered. And they rose to that prominence that they became a threat again. They rose to the point that they could stand up and say they want to be president of Nigeria, and the rest of the country is shaking. Well, that's something. But that's actually not the one I want you to see. I want you to see that part. Because see that system. You see that system? Imu Ahia. Is that what it's called? Imu Ahia. That system is it's actually something that other major universities abroad are reciprocating, teaching right now. Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard. They are teaching that system, the Igbo people, the wealth creation system that Igbo people created that brought them here. So, if you have done all of this to prove to Nigeria that you may be down, but you are not dead, what is wrong? If with what happened during this whole election is enough to tell you that if you could develop chanties, if you could develop forest into sprawling business centers, if you could develop shanties, if you could develop ghettos into sprawling estates outside the Igbo region, who says you can do that in Igbo region and go take it back to Igbo land in a way that create that wealth in Igbo land? And your people, the Igbos in Igbo land, the young people that are migrating out of Igbo land, you will make them become the most respected, including all of you with your wealth. Try it. We don't have that in Yoruba land. They want us to be all right, sir. They want our people, our children, to grow up as beggars. They want us to be independent, to be dependent. So you get, by blinding us with we have culture, we have tradition, we need to respect our elders, even when those elders are mortgaging the future of the people they were supposed to actually guide into that future. So that's the job that is now ours, to counter the narrative. And if you don't believe me, some people are already doing it. Go back to Eastern Nigeria, get counted there. In fact, participate in their census. Fill up your state everywhere in Eastern Nigeria. Pull up that number because you will need it. You will need it. Maybe that can give you an insight to what is actually missing. The Igbo land can actually be the Japan, not because Nigeria wants it to be. But if you could rise from that crucible, from that rumble of 20 pounds to build multi-billion dollars empire in Lagos, in Abuja, all over Nigeria, you could turn that place to heaven. That those who despise you, those who are telling you to go back to your, they will be begging, right, to have a taste of what you can create. But I know I don't have that influence to make you do it. But there are people who listen to me too. I found this.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jackson.
What are you here?
We are here to inspect the Akulono site. You can see there is a massive work going on here. The businessmen in Lagos, particularly Balogu, have decided to come down to the east and invest. If you are going by the name Akulono, in English translation means the wealth is home. So we have been building and developing other places in Nigeria and even in diaspora. But this time around we decided to come down home and bring our wealth. This is one of the reasons why we are here, to inspect the ongoing work. The people gathered here are traders, investors, professionals, captains of industries all over Lagos. At the moment, we are equally extending the branch of fellowship to those who are in diaspora that will equally join us, because as you can see, this project is so massive. We want to reproduce what is happening in other nations in the Igbo land. We are in Enugu at the moment. This project is in Enugu. We are there with the governor yesterday, where we did a brief ceremony about this project. You can see that this is a milestone. Pray Lord Almighty to grant us the strength to do the job, because we cannot do it without Him. That is the major reason why we are here. We want to transform this place into a mega hub. We have so many facilities here. There are housing. We are building clusters of shops and malls. There are holidays.
So when you go back and you give good wages, a lot of you who are multimillionaires abroad, when you make your money, your dream, because maybe before you traveled, you stayed a while in Lagos and you hustled, Abi? So your eyes, your everything is, you want to have a house in Banana Island, you want to have his house here and there, and you are paying a fortune, 200 million naira for 2 plots of land, 1.5 billion naira for land, inside water, inside Kana, inside here and there, in Lagos, duping you, collect, you know what I mean? This is not me trying to demarket, what do you call it? I'm just saying, begin to divest your investments. The opportunities are there. And only you can create that opportunity. When you create jobs, you give them good wages. Something that is more attractive. Yeah, a lot of young people don't want to work anymore. They want to do politics, but there are also young people who want to work. Show you guys. There are, but you need to give them good. You know, you don't go back to develop a place, right? And then you are going back with the mentality of Nigeria. The mentality of slave labor, slavery of taking advantage of people. You need to do something that is not done elsewhere. This is you trying to pump back your wealth into your economy in Eastern Nigeria and see how that is going to spiral. Build malls, build houses, build schools, build things, facilities facilities that you fancy outside Igbo land, build them. Pool your resources together. Listen, you know what happened just now? Boko Haram just signed one of their bills into law. In case if you don't know, if you are an Igbo businessman watching me right now, yeah? Boko Haram just signed a bill into law. And that law is that individuals can generate electricity and sell it. States can generate electricity and sell it. Right? A lot of you have enough money to even build refineries. But they say, Nigeria won't allow you. There are some little cracks on the wall that even if you can pull yourselves together, including what you call your political connections, because a lot of you have built bridges, but they are saying Igbos should build bridges. Igbos should build bridges. Like say you be Julius Baja. A lot of your big men, politicians or businessmen or clergies, they are friends with other people from outside Igbo land. I'm talking about friends, connected friends that are doing businesses together. What other bridge are they talking about when election comes? So you should build a bridge with yourselves. Pool your resources together. Pool all your weight together. Dredge that River Niger. Dredge it straight down to Warri, to Delta, to Bayelsa. Go and link it up straight to the Atlantic Ocean. These are multi-billion dollars investments that are also multi-billion, wealth creation. That if they are just there, it's yours. Nobody can come in and just scrape them off. It's yours. Put that resources together and see if you won't be respected. Let an Igbo man talk and nobody will say, and somebody will say, now so all of you know Igbo people they do. No, nobody will say that again. Ever. You have money. You have all the billions. You probably controls Legito. The Igbos control probably about 45 to 50% of the wealth in Nigeria. I'm talking about legit, not political money, not politicians who print and steal money. Legit. There's nowhere you won't see them. Sometimes if they have to use one Alaji as a front, they will say Alaji, Dango Yaro, CEO. Chief Shuko Emeka, you say Unze Oku. Co-CEO. Unze Oku is the owner. But because of the way Nigeria is, let Alaji Siroma be the CEO. So they will give Alaji Siroma his own thing. They will be using Alaji Siroma to get whatever they want to get. Because if not, as an Igbo man, his business will become a target. There are some of you who have broken that barrier. You don't give a damn about it. You've broken it. Put your resources together. Put them together. The same Nigeria can happen overnight. And your billions can turn to... Though your billions can't turn to zero anymore because a lot of you are so international now. Look at Elumelu. Look at Jimovia. Look at all these guys from the East as well. Rich guys. With businesses that you all transact with every day. You know what I mean? Yeah, insecurity in Eastern Nigeria is political. But when the real sons of the land, when the daughters of the land returns, when you return, insecurity will die. Spread this wealth through work, not work without enterprise. WWE. That's what Nigeria represents. It's just an advice. I wish I had so much money now. If I have so much money, I'll start from Abia. I'll go to Abia State. I'll get land there. Maybe just about 5 plots, 1 acre of land in Abia. And I'll just quickly build, small, center where I can just do anything. Like build myself a small, shopping center, or build myself a service center for something. Just anything. Because I can feel it. Even though some will say, yeah, it's just election, it will soon go away. No, it's not. People are taking this serious. And I wish I'm one of the beneficiaries. I wish I have such money. Look into that. I'm serious. Now, the other one, the person that is chasing people out of Lagos, go back to where you come from. MC Olueran. Now, the deputy governor of Lagos State, Sanwo-Eku's deputy, was on Channels Television as well. And they were asking him that, what MC did is, you know what he said? He said, well, if MC broke any law, they should prosecute him. Well, it's not going to order for anybody's arrest, despite all we heard or saw.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, you have said that anybody who does that should be made to pay for it. Are you thereby calling for the arrest of Mr. MC Oluomo?
Well, I'm not calling for arrest of anybody. You know, I'm not a police officer. I'm not a prosecutor. People will look at the evidence. And, you know, in case of Mr. Luomo, he has come out to say that he was actually referring to one woman that is Mama Chinedu or something like that. So there is a video that shows that. And that woman said, well, he was talking to me, and that we've been friends, or he's been my customer for years, that he was talking to her. So, I mean, so I don't know. I don't know the facts. I don't know the facts. So, but people should examine the facts, and if in truth he has broken the law, of course he must pay for it. It's as simple as ABC. So it's not, but my point, which I want to make, because we all diminish this country when we actually exaggerate what happens. That's my point. My point is that you have an election where you have this number of polling units and you have less than 1% that has a problem. And we now make it look as if that 1% is more important than 99%. I think that's just outrageous.
Okay, well.
And we should not diminish our country and say the election is bad. No. This is a great election.
Yes, elections.
Atrocities were committed, and people should pay for
Elections have come and gone, and all kinds of permutations are not just going to go away. But governance never stopped.
Absolutely.
I saw the statement that
Chembo Wetie. Amzat said that because of 1%, you cannot then say, you know, the old process is blah, 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 blah. What would you expect him to say? In Lagos, 3 people died. 3 party agents of Labour Party, they were killed. 22 people. No, hang on, before I get to that. They said 5 people lost their sight. God knows the kind of beating they were given. They lost their sight. 2 people are currently in coma, which means whether they're going to live or die, they don't know.
Yeah, I just wanted to know,
22 people of a Labour Party, they currently have the bullet pellets in their body, and they will require operation to get them out. All because of one thing. They opposed APC, Egbekegbe, in Lagos. 3 people killed. But to Amzat, 1% cannot, 1%. I am happy that there is already a report that the International Criminal Court has been petitioned. And some people have been reported to be investigated for crimes against humanity, incitement, ethnic, tribal incitement in Nigeria. Bayo Ononuga, Femi Fani-Kayode, Festus Keyamo, and many of them like that. And the ICC has received their letter. There are others who are already organizing what is called a global campaign protest. That we further tell the world the atrocities of these criminals and what they are up to in Nigeria. Don't go anywhere. Take this one, whole body again. I'm coming. This is time I should tell you about this video. You see that clip? Those are the Nigerians, protesting the election. And they were protesting to the UK embassy, US embassy in Abuja. I think you should watch it again.
Well, I remember those buying water on our way, me, when I remember my country, water on our way, me, water on our way, me, water on our way, me, water on our way, water on our way, water on our way, water on our way, my eyes. I remember water on our way,
Cyril, a lot is changing now. I understand there are so many limitations and all of that, but I can tell you this now. A lot of people just hide behind that, not to do anything. But with the reality on ground now, you will build your infrastructures. Don't worry. People will build things now. And you see, me talking about it is not because it is not already ongoing. You see that video I showed you earlier? That's not a current video. There are already people who have taken it upon themselves to go and begin to promote the home return for the Igbo businessmen and women, even Igbo in general, that they could also come back on and contribute into filling the gap of whatever is missing. I'm serious. People are returning. But with what happened in this election now, I think more are now considering that. And it may take time before we notice, generally, right? It may take time. But a lot of you will come back and say, it is actually happening. So don't bank on that myth anymore. A lot of things are changing. A lot of people are actually challenging things. They're not making noise, right? They're not making noise, but they are doing it. But with time, it will become so obvious that even you will begin to believe that, I think there's strength in number. There is power in number. I do believe that. And as I have that advice for my Eastern brothers, the Igbos and the Biafrans, the entire Eastern region, including the Niger Delta and all that, right? Self-preservation. If anybody tells you that the way to self-preserve, the way to earn respect is to kill people, to prove it. No, that's not how to prove it. I am a Yoruba man, right? And in my own capacity, as tiny as I am doing my best to encourage Yorubas to come together, pull their resources together, and push them into the economy of the Yoruba land. Impact enough that the people that are under the bondage of the political bondage of these criminals in Yoruba land, the people that prefer to preserve Yoruba land by killing non-Yorubas or threatening them, we want to reorientate them. We want to empower them. We want to give them economic support. And like I said, I may be so tiny, Mayegun, but if you look at those around me, whenever I call them, and I continue to let them know that they may not know what they are capable of doing until they do it. Now, that mentality of trying to bring the genuine Yorubas, including rich Yorubas, to believe in idea that preserving Yoruba land is to preserve the dignity of the Yoruba children. They are the future. If we raise beggars, if we raise hateful people that blame other people for why they are not making progress or what have you, if we raise them, we will end up worse off than we can ever imagine. So somebody like myself, with so many other people, right? We may not be making so much impact yet. But you know something? We believe in ourselves that as long as the ideology behind the Yoruba Union, for example, right? The ideology behind it is for every Yoruba to know what is going on in Yoruba land. And at the same time, to get connected to what is going on in Yoruba land. Not just that. And at the same time, to get involved in resolving what is wrong with Yoruba land. That's what Yoruba Union means. So, in my journey, I strongly believe that I am going to come across Yoruba billionaires too. That also, with all of their resources and their billions, they will believe in that the unity and the union of Yoruba people that comes from wealth distribution, wealth redistribution, wealth creation, opportunities. That is how to preserve the people, preserve the dignity, preserve the culture, preserve the tradition of a people. It's not by turning them to fodder cannon. They just want to hate other people simply because they've made their lives boring and poor. When you are poor, you hate people. Do you know that? Yeah, you kind of gonna be so kind of grumpy. Poverty is not something so good. And attacking our people with poverty by this political class is actually a threat to Yoruba land than any other nonsense they are feeding our people. So me as a person, I just believe that we could do it. I mean, if I come here and I say, okay, you know what? We need to go back and do so and so, you won't believe it. People with their millions, they are so eager, happy to pull them together to help the people they don't know in Yoruba land. You see that ideology, yeah? So it's almost the same. We have a lot of people that believe that we've got land, we've got this, we've got that. We could explore them, we could use them to the advantage of our people. That's the idea. Sure you get? So eventually, if we succeed or when we succeed in helping the orientation of our people, letting them, helping them to acknowledge what is right from what is wrong and do what is right and keep it up. That's our job. Okay? And I'm inviting you to join us too, Cyril. I believe strongly in the strongness and the spirit, the oneness spirit of, or the can-do spirit of the Igbos. I've seen it. I have seen it. I have read about it. And I kind of believe it because I've seen it. But it's been done. It's been done in Igbo land too. Don't get me wrong. Some of the money that they are bringing down to southwest Nigeria, they are not from southern Nigeria. Southwest Nigeria. Some of them, villages, some of them, when their Oga settle them in Aba, they don't want to stay in the same Aba with their Oga. They will take all their millions, enter bus, come to Lagos. And you start seeing them selling belt, selling this, selling that before they turn it into a boutique or turn it into an automat. Let me say they come Yoruba land, come pack any money. I'm telling you this, because I know that too. People leave their region. That region that you said is nothing, they live with millions. They come down south, they travel north, they go everywhere looking for what they can do, how they can turn that money into something. That's what they do. So so I want to believe that we also have the Yorubas who are also doing the same thing in Yoruba land. My job, personally, right, is to ensure that such people are kind of encouraged. And in a way, most of us who are in the union, Yoruba Union, right, we continue to fill in the gap and at the same time reorientating our people. Then it will get to a point whereby those who have these chains over our people, they probably won't know that they've lost them. Now that's it. That's an adventure. That's a mission that some of us believe in strongly. And you're going to see us soon. Next month, right? We are bringing something up as well. Just our own little way. The Igbos can do big things in a big way. I've seen you done it. And if you want to earn any respect, it's not by building skyscrapers in Lagos. It's not by owning a massive estate in Abuja. It is by you following your own doctrine. Redistribute your wealth. Let it go around those who are actually from that region for real. Empower them. Nigeria will respect you. I just believe Nigeria will respect you in a way, and you will never have to remind them your worth anymore. Now, there is this story. It's a Yoruba political history. I'm going to read it with you, okay? You've heard about Operation Wetie. Now, Operation Wetie was a political war that happened between politicians. But this time around, it was the politician of the era, Obafemi Awolowo, and Akintola. Now, History Vile that shared and published this story 4 years ago. Yeah, that was 4 years ago. So I found it kind of interesting. I want to share it with you. I'll read it. Then possibly I will take calls. Okay? But if time will allow. If time doesn't, well, fine. we've had quite interesting night so far, I would say. So I'm going to read. If you are still watching, maybe we should just take a minute break, okay? Take a minute break, like this broadcast, because just in case if you change your mind and you want to go away, this is an interesting story. I'll share you the link and you can read it too, right? And then maybe to kind of juggle your mind or your memory of some of this story, okay? So yeah, a minute, and then we will continue. Thank you so much, Felicia Bernard. That's so generous of you. Thank you, ma. Now let me read this. Sorry about my voice, okay? My voice, I don't even know what my voice sounds like when I'm reading like this. So, yeah, Wetie. The Operation Wetie of the First Republic, Western Region, in 1965 was one of the excuses Majors Emmanuel Ifejuna and Kaduna Nzeogu with their cohorts gave when they struck on the morning of January 15, 1966 to end Nigeria's First Republic. There were widespread looting, riots, and murder, as many political opponents were also burnt alive. The West, which had been the bride of the nation in terms of development, was now a political war zone where thugs and Ushers engaged in wanton killings and destruction of properties. The event became known as Operation Wetie, and the Western region was nicknamed the Wild West. Right. This is an interesting story for those who have heard a lot but probably never had a chance of really getting the full story, okay? So, let's start. What is the genesis? Adegoke Adelabu and the 1959 federal elections. The 1959 federal elections had put Chief Obafemi Awolowo of the Action Group as the leader of the opposition in the federal parliament, while his deputy, Chief Samuel Akintola, became the premier and the leader of the government of Western Region. Pragmatic leaders had chosen Akintola to succeed Awolowo when the latter resigned the premiership of the Western Region to contest the 1959 federal election. They reasoned that Akintola, was a logical choice, not only because of his previous association with the party, but more so because of his hometown in Yoruba land. The Action Group Party, this is Adegoke Adelabu, Wenkelemesi, yeah? The Action Group Party had never won the Ibadan constituency and other constituencies around Ibadan. There had always been intra-ethnic rivalries between Oyo and Ibadan on one hand, and the Ijebu people on the other hand. Now they talk about too. Chief Akintola was from Ogbomoso, which is in the old Oyo kingdom. Chief Awolowo, on the other hand, was an Ijebu Yoruba. The different intra-Yoruba rivalries did not encourage harmonious unity within the party. Alhaji Adegoke Adelabu, a Yoruba from Ibadan and a member of the rival National Convention of Nigerian Citizens, NCNC, had always successfully exploited the Action Group's intra-party rivalries to his party's advantage. With Awolowo going to the federal parliament and Adelabu dead due to a motor accident, And hence, out of the political scene, the action group could win all the seats in the old Oyo kingdom as a result of the traditional son of the area, Akintola, as the premier of the region. This strengthened the party's power in the western region, and fortunately, it gained the Ibadan area, which was a previous stronghold of the NCNC when Adelabu was alive. So the genesis of the Operation Wetie. Before the advent of Operation Wetie, party leaders with the western region in their grasp, party leaders started plans to gain power at the federal level, having 125 seats in the north and 14 seats in the east in the 1959 elections. But the party could not form the federal government through votes based on the conditions of the country, as the northern region alone was 2.5 times the size of the other western and eastern, other regions, western and eastern put together. This is Obafemi Awolowo. So they suggested that the only way to power at the federal level was to form a national government which would comprise all the ruling parties in the different regions. The implication was that the Action Group Party would refrain from any serious political activities in the other regions where it had established a small but virile political base. Akintola was in strong favor of forming a national government which would include all the ruling political parties, and advocated an approach to the NPC, Northern People's Congress. But Awolowo and other party members were opposed to it. Instead, they suggested that the party should make advances to the southern NCNC and not to the NPC. Their hope was that the Action Group and the NCNC could team up together to contest the next federal elections and will break northern Nigeria and the east into more regions. From these two different suggestions rose opposed factions within the Action Group Party, one under Akintola and the other under Awolowo. So, in 1962, Action Group Convention. The conflict continued discreetly within the party until February 1962, after the party's annual convention at Jos, when Akintola, Ayo, Rosiji, party secretary, and some Western region ministers walked out of the convention because of disagreement on several matters. As disciplinary measures, the party relieved Rosiji as secretary and was replaced with Samuel Ikoku, leader of the opposition in the Eastern House of Assembly. More importantly, the post of the party's deputy leader, which Akintola held, was abolished. The executive committee of the party also found Akintola guilty on 24 charges, to which he pleaded guilty and asked for forgiveness. The party held firm and decided that Akintola should be removed from his positions his positions he held as its deputy leader and as the Western Region Premier. The former was done by the party, and the latter was to be executed by the governor of the Western Region, Oba Sir Adesoji Aderemi Dioni of Ife. Akintola accepted the first punishment but rejected the second, and maintained that he had not been given the chance to test his popularity on the floor of the Western House of Assembly. A majority of the members signed a petition withdrawing their support from Akintola and presented it to the regional governor. More importantly, they asked the governor to use the powers conferred on him under Section 33, subsection 10 of the region's constitution, to remove Akintola from office, to which the governor complied. The relevant section of the constitution states that, in quote, the governor shall not remove the premier from office unless it appears to him that the premier no longer commands the support of a majority of the House of Assembly. As expected, Akintola challenged his deposition in a lawsuit at the High Court of Western Nigeria, who then transferred it to the Federal Supreme Court in Lagos to rule on the constitutionality of the dismissal. Now, a rumble in the jungle. Meanwhile, the Action Group Party chose a new premier in Alhaji Dauda Adegbenro, whom the governor appointed. The new premier was to seek a vote of no confidence in the Western House of Assembly on May 24th, 1962, when Akintola's faction chose to disrupt the proceedings. And because of the ensuing fracas, had the federal government dissolved the House. At the time of the legislature was to meet, some members of Akintola's factions in the House went in and smashed windows and furniture and beat up members of the parliament. Chief Odebi, Minister of Finance and leader of the House, was about to move the first business motion of the day when Mr. E.O. Oke, Ogbomosho Southwest, jumped up, raised an alarm, and flung a chair across the floor of the House. Mr. F. Ebubedike, Badagry East, seized the mace and smashed it on Mr. Speaker's table. Mr. S.A. Adeneya, Oyo East, then seized the chair and hit the Minister of Trade and Industry, Mr. K.S.Y. Momo, on the head. He was rushed to the hospital for treatment. At this stage, members of the Akintola faction, assisted by the NCNC opposition, smashed chairs and tables, and the police had to use tear gas to disperse the scuffling. After both premiers, Adegbenro and Akintola, petitioned the Prime Minister, Alhaji Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, as the assembly reconvened again. Unfortunately, the outcome was as severe, even worse, according to witnesses, as the first time. At once, the Akintola faction and the NCNC opposition began to shout and bang their chairs. Chief S.A. Tinubu sat on the floor beside the speaker's chair and continually rang a bell. Mr. J.O. Adigun threatened to throw the record book at the speaker. Mr. Akinyemi smashed one dispatch box, and Mr. Adedigba threw the other at Alhaji Adegbenro before it was caught by the sergeant at arms. Mr. Adeneya then hit the speaker with a chair, while the NCNC members smashed theirs or threw them at opponents. All this time, the police had been begging the speaker to let them act. And when he finally did so, they used clubs, released tear gas again, cleared the house, and then locked it up. This action would eventually act as a precursor to Operation Wetie. Then came the state of emergency. Because of the chaotic atmosphere, Prime Minister Balewa declared a state of emergency in the West on the 29th of May, 1962. Before an emergency session of the Federal Parliament in Lagos, Obafemi Awolowo, leader of the opposition, replied that a state of emergency did not exist in the Western region, as the violence was only confined to the regional House of Assembly, while the rest of the West was calm and quiet. Awolowo's objection was to no avail, and the Federal Parliament passed a bill that declared a state of emergency in the West, with the right to detain and restrict persons, and the imposition of curfews, with the appointment of Dr. Moses A. Majekodunmi, a distinguished gynecologist, a senator, and a federal minister of health as the sole administrator of the Western region. Now, Majekodumi's first act was the service of restrictions on a number of people. This included two premiers, Akintola and Adegbenro, Obafemi Awolowo, and R.A. Fani Kayode. While the restriction orders on Akintola's faction and NCNC members were lifted in barely 2 months, those of the action group members remained restricted. Dr. Majekodumi also instituted a commission of inquiry headed by George Baptist Ayodola Coker of the Lagos High Court into cooperations owned by the Western region, and the commission revealed instances of poor administration and misappropriation of public funds for the benefit of the Action Group Party. The report came down hard on Awolowo and other Action Group members in his faction, but exonerated Akintola. The stage for the final act was set in the commission's report of a treasonable felony on Awolowo and his Action Group members. Then the emergency rule ends. So searches in the Nigerian police carried out in the country during the emergency period in Western Nigeria revealed large quantities of arms and ammunitions, which some Action Group members imported into the country to be used, allegedly, to overthrow the federal government. Obafemi Awolowo, Anthony Enahoro, as well as some 24 others were charged with treasonable felony and conspiracy to overthrow the federal government. Awolowo was sentenced to 10 years, while Enahoro and others were sentenced to 15 years imprisonment. These actions led to the demise of the Action Group, and on December 31, 1962, the state of emergency was lifted. Now, on January 1st, 1963, Akintola was reinstated as Premier of Western Region and the head of the new government at Agodi, Ibadan, the seat of regional government, with the formation of his new party, United People's Party, UPP, which consisted of those former Action Group Party members he was able to win to his side on his expulsion from Action Group. It was a coalition government that was formed by the UPP and the NCNC, which had previously formed the opposition. The Action Group Party, which had previously formed the government of the Western region, now moved into opposition. In 1964, the UPP had evolved to be the Nigeria National Democratic Party, NNDP, with Akintola as the leader, and as a friend of the ruling party, NPC, Northern People's Congress. Hence, the 1965 Western regional elections gave the NPC another chance of maintaining its political power in the country, a hegemony which other political power found irksome. Now, more importantly, the NNDP was determined to remain in power. In the face of all overwhelming odds against the NNDP, should the election be free and fair, it was left with one alternative: to rig the elections. Now, 1965 Western regional elections. Whether or not the NNDP was following precedents established by previous political parties, the massive rigging of the Western region elections of October 11, 1965 was flabbergasting. The method of electoral fraudulence employed were the familiar ones, but the scale to which they were used was overwhelmingly much more severe, which unfortunately led to the famed Operation Wetie. The Electoral Commission, led by Mr. Eyo Isua, publicly admitted that the electoral officers were kidnapped and therefore could not carry out their duties, while some refused to accept nomination papers of certain candidates and others failed to report for duty. Many candidates who had obtained validity papers were elected unopposed. The inability of the candidate to register aside, there were questions of ballot papers floating around in the West despite the precautionary measures of giving the ballot papers to the police. The use of party agents and thugs camouflaged as members of the local government police was common, and rigging was employed in several conceivable means. Counting was not completed in some stations before the results of these stations were broadcast over the radio. Some candidates were declared elected, although their opponents scored higher votes. As a result of the grave irregularities, the NNDP won the elections, 16 of its candidates having been returned unopposed at the close of nomination. It was publicly charged that the NNDP victory was due to fraud. Does that ring bells? No? Okay. Operation Wetie. Some said APC and PDP, they are only repeating what their grandparents did 60 years ago. Abi? In 2023, they are still kidnapping electoral officers in Nigeria. They are still declaring wrong figures and wrong people winner. They are rigging elections in Nigeria and they are telling people to go to court. This is 60 years after, 1963, 2023, 60 years after, or 70 years, Abi? I don't know. They are still doing the same thing. And somebody is telling you Nigeria go better. Nigeria go better. Yeah, and you believe them. Eh? Now, the way to wait here. Now, what happened? The political atmosphere in the Western region looked bleak. And dismissal and the after effects of the elections were even more severe and devastating. Defeated political candidates had in the past run to the courts to challenge irregularities at elections. This time, they did not go to court. Instead, the people took the laws into their hands. Riots, looting, arson, and murder were the rule of the day. Party thugs poured gasoline on opponents and set them on fire. A situation then known as Operation Wetie. Properties, bags of cocoa and other produce of opponents awaiting shipment were also set ablaze. Without a doubt, the destruction of properties was not as horrifying as setting human beings on fire. By November 1, 1965, the Operation Wetie riot at Ekiti resulted in the death of 15 people, while a fresh riot 4 days later caused the loss of 20 lives. 16 people were killed in Ijebu and Ondo areas on November 7, 1965. Houses and vehicles were set on fire, and to travel within the Western region and from other regions into the West was a menace because of thugs and gangsters who took laws into their own hands while the police failed to maintain law and order. There were tension and wanton destruction of human lives and properties. Nigerians looked to the federal government to step in to arrest the situation in the region, but all pleas were to no avail. Meanwhile, the Operation Wetie riots and killings continued, and the NNDP government of Western region imposed curfews in Mushin, Ikeja, Agege, Ajeromi, and Awori districts. Yet, the disturbances continued, and each day brought a new toll of rioting, harassing, looting, and murder. The Operation Wetie crisis over the struggle of political power during the Western region elections of October 11, 1965 was the last straw that broke the camel's back, which really convinced the 5 majors. As I have written in the first paragraph of their 1966 coup, Nigerian coup d'etat, on the cold Saturday morning of January 15, 1966. And this is the story of Operation Wetie that ended the first Republic Nigeria. It was politicians, their greed, their selfishness, their uncontrollable, insatiable lust for power sank Nigeria the first time. And in fact, all other events that followed that led to the death, even war, and then a coup, counter coup, counter coup, counter coup, like Bokwari said, and the story of Nigeria didn't remain the same till date. Let's break it up to save our lives. Save your life. Save mine. If there's anything you should be demanding for, it's not census. It should be referendum. I'll take course so that it doesn't look like 3 straight days. My ego didn't take a course. So like the video if you're still watching me, okay? Like the broadcast. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, right? And then you can go on to the history file. See, go to the historyfile.com. You read a lot about Nigeria history, and a lot of them are going to bring back, a lot of memories. And sometimes, right, it will also help you to research more. I mean, you'll be able to actually find out more on things you will discover. That's what I do, okay? And when you learn all this history, right, be like me. Don't be a prisoner of history. Don't learn the horrible things that is going to poison your mind. Learn from the mistakes of the past, the political decisions of the old men that brought us here, and be one of those that will never repeat them, okay? Don't go anywhere. Let me go make myself another cup of tea. I'll come take course now, okay? Have you dropped your own offering? Have you liked the broadcast, if I may ask, Okay, now please do. So I have a caller on the line, the first caller tonight. Hello, sir.
Yeah, Mayegu.
Baba.
What I want to talk about is this the Balogu market that they born again now.
Well,
the Igbo market.
Go on. You can talk about it too. Yeah. I've talked about so many things. You get that? So you can talk about that. Everybody will listen. Yeah, go on.
With this way, they're going about burning the Igbo market. Balogu is not only Igbo that are there anyway. There are Yoruba people there. All Nigerians have businesses there.
I know.
But the purpose of burning it is targeting the Igbo. They call it the economic jihad.
It is.
That this man was the vice president-elect was talking about. So, election have come, are gone. They ask people to go to court. If you are not satisfied with the result, and people have got to court because of that, they're now using the opportunity to be burning people's shops. I think this is not the government of Lagos State should do anyway. They are the one. We believe they are the ones sending people to do talks, to do all these things. They still work for them.
Unfortunately,
I will say we want one Nigeria, and so set of people are not being welcome in this one Nigeria. You don't believe in them. You don't trust them. You look down on them as if they are not even second-class citizens in their own country. Then let them go. If you don't want them, they don't belong to you. Let them go. Why are you holding them down? It's so painful. It's so painful what the Igbos are experiencing in their own country.
Their own supposed country, they are telling them to go back to where you come from and all that. It's an act of a generational disrespect. And it is only the Igbos that can redeem themselves by telling themselves the truth. I mean, it's sad. But Baba, thank you so much. Yeah, this is Balogun Market on fire. And then another multi-millionaire naira businesses gone down the drain, and you will never know why. Yeah? Hello there.
Naira businesses gone down the drain.
You mind muting this broadcast, please, if you can hear me? Okay. Let's take another one. Hello there.
Hello, Mayogun.
Baba, how are you?
I'm great. Yeah. I just want to thank you for all these things that you have exposed us to, particularly and the history about what happened in the Western region and in Nigeria in general. I believe there is a lesson for everybody to learn. I know if we want to remain as well. But what I just want to say is this. I believe that Yoruba people are accommodating and they are very nice people. And they should not judge us by some miscreants who are just, try to defend, something that is not defendable. Even if Yoruba want to present a candidate for president, we know we have credible people in Yoruba land. We have them all over the place. With person we don't even know. We don't know where he comes from. You don't know his, you don't know his father, his mother, and they are calling somebody, in Lagos or Mali. The person has a father who has a mother, and they are calling somebody.
Point to.
Which is quite very wrong, and people should know this, that what you are regarding as Lagos today can become something else tomorrow. So it will not, because it's people that live there, people that build it.
It's the people that build city. City don't build people. People should need, Baba. People need to understand something. Okay, cities or towns, they don't build people. Now people build cities. People build towns, and it's collective work of everybody who knows that this is where I live, and I could do everything to make it even better. And if you are in a way not seeing it that way, I mean, it's not bad if people actually then have to support the breakup, or it's hypocrisy altogether. People build city, they need to know, Baba.
Yeah, I believe it's hypocrisy because, we have Yorubas in UK, in America, in Canada, holding, positions. Nobody have told them that, you are from Nigeria, go back to your country. Nobody have told them that. So I believe that we should stop all this nonsense, and we just because of the fact that some people are not educated. Sometimes you see some people, they say they are educated. We need to question which kind of school, these people attended. It's very sad, very, very sad, and very sad. And and very heartbreaking. And you know that the government we have at the center, they don't even do anything. They don't, they are just like, I don't know what the kind of people they are, because I believe that they could have, step in this matter and then make sure that they arrest. Because with the way things are going now, this is how civil war starts. So, and if you don't take time, this thing will degenerate to another thing, and that
they are not even giving up, sir. They are not giving. They are like all of you. You just say you are mad, Abi. I mean, it's going to be fire for fire, and it's propaganda after propaganda. All this propaganda are more divisive, right? But on the other hand, right, when you say if this is it, why don't you just let everybody go their separate way? Oh, Mayegun, you are enemy of Nigeria. You want to divide these people instead of you to unite us. Are you mad? You said they should go away. How do you unite people? You said they should go away. And when we now advise them that it's good that they are saying it now, before they take it even further, could you please begin the process of transitioning? And you say we are the enemy. Sure, you guys are hypocrisy. Well, yeah, time will tell. We are on it.
So time will tell. So let me just give other people a chance. But it's better we address this issue. Otherwise, if we want us to remain together as one, let this issue be addressed. But otherwise, if people are to go in their different, then allow it. Let everybody go to their different way.
Before we turn it into xenophobia, start killing ourselves and say, I killed him because he's Igbo.
Take for example now, a child that was born in 1999 when this started, he has known what is called up NEPA, and that is the language is still known today. That is, up NEPA. So what when are you going to? Your Bible says he said how many years are we going to spend in life that we are wearing iron cloth?
Thank you so much.
A child that is born in UK, a child that is born in UK today already know there is a plan for that child.
There is.
Same thing in US. For Nigeria, a child that is born, there is no plan.
Now prayer, you just pray for the child so that he will meet luck. Just pray for the child. There's nothing like any plan. Now God, they plan. Even in Nigeria, we say what the children are going to eat, they brought it from heaven. Do you know that? That's to tell you that nothing is sure, nothing is guaranteed. But thank you, sir. Let me take another one. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah. So I remember when they said that to my mom. I think when she had our last month, I was like, no, they are lying to you. This one didn't bring anything from heaven. No. Hello, sir.
My yo.
Yes, sir. Kabis yo.
How are you? How are you, sir?
I am very well. How are you too?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Thank you so much.
I got a question. Yo.
Please, sir.
I got a question. If Chinese meet each other, do you know how they greet each other?
I don't know, but if I have to follow sir, please.
Okay. They bow.
Oh,
so I'm here bow for you. I'm here bow for you as my Gio.
I am also returning same, sir. Because, when Chinese meet, this is how they do it. I'm doing same, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yo, let me go to business.
Please.
Let me say this.
Yes, sir.
Now, people are shouting that Igbo, Yoruba. To my own thinking, I think these Fulani people are planning evil between us and the Yoruba. Okay, before, Gio.
Yes, sir.
Before, Yoruba and Igbo are shouting, Fulani want to take our land, oh. Fulani want to take our land, oh. Nobody is shouting that again now. Now it's Igbo taking Yoruba land. That's my own thinking. Gio. I'm so surprised of my friend learning the people. They travel to Nigeria and come back and said, oh, I voted for Kolu. I said, sure. When I started talking, he said, okay, Since then, he didn't call me. Gio, that's my own thinking. Thank you. God bless you. I don't want to take your time.
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate your your fantastic your contribution, sir. That's quite insightful, as we say. But here is another person on the line. Hello there.
Hello.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Hello, my Gomoba.
Kabiesio.
God will continue to help you.
Amen,
and help
sir.
every one of us.
Yeah, I know, and you too, sir. Amen.
You know, my own contribution is this. Things have gone, beyond control. Why do I say that?
Enlighten us, sir.
We are talking of rules, laws. Do we follow the laws?
No.
And when you are hearing or observation of people in the diaspora or in Nigeria, they will be saying that, Nigerians, they are so perfect, they are very educated, they are very intellectual, this and that. When you see Nigeria in abroad, doctors, lawyers of good reputation.
That's right.
Then my question is that, with all this knowledge, how do we employ it for a meaningful decision? We can say this 1,000 years. Is there any basis or any direction that has already been instituted for us to follow, which is compulsory?
That sounded like a that sounded like a question,
they
sir.
started before us. They have already engaged in all these problems. But at the same time,
sorry, I actually wanted to chip something in there, but it seems that the communication there is a little bit delayed. So I'll let you finish, then I'll say what I wanted to say, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, brother.
Yes, sir.
So what I'm saying is that if there is a law for us to follow, and those who are yet unborn, when they come into the life, they will follow it. Who is Kolu? Who is Buhari? Somebody who cannot face the audience. Somebody who cannot convince people. Who doesn't have the knowledge? See you, that a young guy. And many of you are in this country.
That's right.
But because of bigotry, because of the fear of the unknown, they cannot surrender themselves for people to enjoy. So it's a pity. If the law is not instituted, if the law is not enforced, brother,
we are just wasting our time. You are right, sir. And that is why we have taken it upon ourselves as well. Like I said, that we might look so little, but the effect of what we are capable of doing is based on the size of our idea, our vision. That if we can manage to rally ourselves together as a people, and then pull our resources together as well, reorientate and re-educate our people, the law you mentioned, orderliness, I'll call it orderliness. It can actually start from the mindset of our people. If the mindset is revolutionized, the outputs, right, will not be as bad, as disorganized, as chaotic as it is now. And that's why we take it upon ourselves in Yoruba Union to further that reorientation. It is the toughest, thankless job in this journey to freedom. A lot of people don't want to do it. We have chosen to. And we are confident that we can set the path, sir. We are confident.
Yeah, that is the problem. You are eating it in there.
Thank you,
what
sir.
I'm saying is that you see, very few people have the courage. The majority, they don't have it.
And that's what we want to do.
Like myself, I'm in US.
Yes,
I'm enjoying my life, but I still have pity for people at home.
The
majority over here, they don't even have pity for those at home.
It's
and
sad.
They're living fine.
It is sad. You know something, sir? One thing we discovered, right? What people don't know, don't move them. A lot of people just say, well, Nigeria has problem. Well, it's not new. We all know the problem. But if you can show them the problem, the victims, it changes their mind. Sir, I have seen positive responses from Yorubas and non-Yorubas alike outside Nigeria that got so moved that for the first time, they feel connected to the victims of the problem at home. And they are compelled, somehow, they feel obliged to do something. Now, what we want to ensure of is that if we can get all of us on board, when we begin to see that talking about the problem is not enough, doing something about it as well will go a long way. I think, yeah, we might not actually have lost it all at the end of the day, sir.
Brother, let me chip in something.
Please, sir.
You see, not that they don't know the problem.
They do.
Yeah, all what you have said so far about the constitution, is a functional development. We read it in the university.
Bless you.
But we don't make use of it. Those who make use of it are very few. And at the same time, those who understand it, they are hypocrites. I'm telling you the truth. The problem we are having is the constitution.
That's right.
They are running away from that problem. Not that Yoruba doesn't like Igbo. Not that Igbo doesn't like Yoruba. Not that Hausa doesn't like Yoruba. But the problem is that there is any tool that they give us that direction to institute it, to make it a reality. That the law, let us allow this law to prevail. But they are running from the root of the problem. They are running away
from it. You're right.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
sir. What I would say, my own suggestion, sir.
Yes,
my
sir.
own suggestion.
Yes, sir.
There is no how we can do it. The best solution is revolution. People will die. After this election, now people die.
People die.
Do they expect that death?
No.
People will die, brother. If we are running away from that, it's a lie. Today they burn a market. Next tomorrow they burn another market. A day after they burn another market.
So
then the economy swing. When is it going to end? And the government, they don't say nothing. Why? Because the lack of knowledge, wisdom. We don't have leaders. Who are the leaders?
We have dealers, sir. We don't have leaders. We have dealers.
How would they be able to direct the affairs?
No, they can't. Thank you so much.
Who doesn't have anything. It's too much. We have reached the climax.
We have.
Let's call this spade a spade.
Thank you.
Let us fight. Let us kill ourselves. They say a country cannot survive 2 wars.
No, Nigeria can't survive another war. We know that.
That's what we can do. You are trying your best. You are risking your life. Myself, I'm risking my life.
That's right.
Everybody,
all of our lives are at risk anyway. If we want to tell ourselves the truth,
it is
simply because some of us are not closer to the place. Yeah, that's why we think we are better off, but we are not far off from it. All our lives are at risk, sir.
Brother, I can't deceive you.
Please.
I will lower regime. Onobanjo regime.
BC.
Yakode regime. Brother, they try. I don't say they don't invest money.
But they make the impact.
Investment is out of mind. Some people, they don't have savings, but they are living well. They can't boast of 1 million in the bank. But you see them, they have houses, they have good cars, they manage their money.
They are sustaining themselves.
During the time of Jack Conde, brother, I can't deceive you. All streets were tied. All corners of Lagos State, every street. Where you said you were living, I also live in I live in Ilaka Street.
Oh, yeah?
My father has a building there.
Wow. Sir, you know something? Let me go and talk to somebody else so that you and I just don't spend the rest of the night. And
I'm only telling you I'm only telling you the achievement of those people.
I know.
But now nothing done.
Nothing. All of that goodwill gone. Thank you so much, sir.
All the money has fallen into their private pocket.
I know. Thank you so much, sir. I am taking another one here. Here we go. Hello, sir.
Yeah. Hello, Mayoko. How are you doing? This is Fidelis from Canada.
Did you say Felix? How are you doing, Felix?
No, Fidelis.
Oh, Fidelis. Bless you. Baba, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing very fine. And you?
I am well, too. Thanks for asking. And yeah, you're part of it tonight again. Please.
Yeah, first and foremost, I want to thank you very much for at least bringing us back to history and then educating a few of us who probably are not carried along on how Nigerian history is. So thank you very much for that.
And thank you so much for listening.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I just want to make 3 points. And then one, I want to direct it to all obedience. also an obedience, you know? Yeah, I want to direct it to them. The truth about it is this. INEC was the body that vetted Tinubu's credentials and also, you know, to be sure. And then INEC came back to Nigerians and told Nigerians that Tinubu was certified and was cleared and was okay to contest.
That's right.
Good. And it's the same people we've taken to court now. Do you really think that the court is going to be in favor of Peter Obi or in favor of Tinubu? It's going to definitely be in favor of Tinubu. Yeah, because they would want to cover up their footprint. So what I want to tell the obedience is that there's no time. Let us start to prepare for a plan B, because I cannot leave.
Sorry, that important part of your message, suddenly just went low.
For my own children.
Fidelis, you there?
That's the quagmire that will
Fidelis, can you hear me?
So if people do not want to the truth, we have pastors.
He's not listening to me.
Quiet.
Baba, you are not listening to me. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
I know. Probably you are just there giving us that TED talk. I didn't want to miss any of it, right? Your voice suddenly just went so low, and it was the time when you are delivering the most important part of your message, right? So you did ask. Let me take you back a bit, okay? You were asking that did I believe that the obedient believe that the courts is going to rule. You get. So I want you to continue from there because you were delivering more. Go on.
Going to rule in their favor.
Please.
Yeah. So the court, look, let's not see. Let me make. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, please. Go on.
Good. These are the germane discussions that we'll be having on air now. You understand? The truth about let's not deceive ourselves. The court is not going to favor. It's not going to favor Obi. It's not going to favor Obi. Why? I will tell you why. The reason why is this. INEC vetted.
Are they with you, Fidelis? So this is don't mind what is out there. You and I should continue convo. Everybody is listening to us. Go on.
So INEC vetted Tinubu's credentials. First, he claimed that he went to so school in the US, which is it's not true. He also came up with the issue for the fact that even his name is synonymous with drug peddling. It's enough for INEC to have said, we don't need to waste time in this case. I mean, we have people in jail, in Nigerian jail, who also have drug cases. And those people are locked up for years. Then you now have somebody who come up and is claiming to be your president. We look, it's better we just let everybody just think. After all, in our generation, all these generations we have, nobody's going to live up to 200 years. There's no need for us to keep wasting time. Let's stick by that truth and die by that truth if it comes to that point. Because the truth about it is that I am so ashamed that people see truth and they are running away from it.
That's what Nigeria means.
You understand? They're running away from it.
So you need to be prejudiced.
So I want to applaud and I want to raise my voice to let all obedient know that a plan B should be on ground now. There is not people in the US and Canada and
they should stop building their expectation on cause. We know where it's going to end.
If the Constitution states that you must win even in the Federal Capital Territory, and now they are coming up to tell us story about it. If the law says that you should have nothing to do with drugs, 25%. And now we are coming up. You
are passing a very important message, Fidelis, right? I don't want you to mix them up, okay? So what happened is that it says you must have 25% in Abuja, and they are now debating what is now. That's the point you want to make there, isn't it?
So and it's a conjunctive, right?
Nah,
it means that it's joining two things together. It's joining two things together. It means that those two things must exist. Everybody knows this. Even a primary 2 years, child in Nigeria knows this. So these guys shouldn't come up to tell us any bullshit. They know already that they've shot themselves in the leg. And everybody knows that this guy was a drug peddler for 10 years or so, that he had drug-related issues. We don't want anybody look, it's enough for politicians to be looting us, but it's bad for us to know. Yes.
I'm with you. Continue.
Yes, so
don't listen to the broadcast.
Yes,
That one is
yes,
delayed.
so
Continue.
Yes. If they allow Tinubu to come in, then they need to give apologies to all drug barons that they have kept in Nigerian prison because it's a breach of law. Yes, you cannot. And then secondly, again, they should not forget, and I'm talking now to the obedience, don't forget that you are in a country whereby a lot of corrupt leaders, a lot of them still want to hold on to power. These people, look, they are very few. They are not many.
They are not.
If it comes to what, let's know more of their names, their family names, and also that when the shit hits the fan, like the Americans would say, when the shit hits the fan, everybody is touched. Everybody is touched. You know? So that's just my conclusion. I know I may be sounding a little bit very harsh, but this is the truth about it.
No, you're not harsh. You have so much. Go on,
An American man will put a gun to your head for stealing just $1 of his money. Now we have people who have looted our treasuries. In fact, they said from by May, Buhari will be handing over. They'll be removing subsidy. Yes. So Naira is going to go to 700. I mean, how do you want people to survive?
A liter of fuel is going to go to 800 Naira.
Yes. How do you want people to survive? How do you want people to survive? And people are sitting down in the church, they are clapping hands. You can be sitting down in the church and clapping hands when you see some moron taking over your destiny. You understand? So it's not a question of we are inciting anybody. This is the reality on ground. We have crop of thieves,
you know what I tell people,
killers who claims to be Nigerian leaders.
Fidelis, you know what I tell people, right? You know what I tell people? When people say asking people to stand up is inciting them, I said, they deceive us.
No.
See, now the government no. You know the people that are actually inciting us is the government. Do you know that? The politicians are those who are inciting us. It's like they are taunting us. What can you do? What are you going to do? Yes, it's happening. What are you going to do?
But they will see. What are you going to do?
You know what I mean? So it's like they are taunting us, inciting us to act.
When they say,
go on.
Yes. When they say, what can we do?
What can we do?
I can assure.
Go to court.
I can assure them. Yes. No. Listen. I can assure them. I can assure them. Like what they said now that come 25th of May, that if they actually swore in Tinubu, then it may be the end of democracy. I in fact, to be frank and to be truth for me, with the way Nigeria is going, men will start to eat men because there is nothing like when hunger makes you hit the streets. They want to arrest a lot of people. They want to jail a lot of people. They better create enough prison. Yes, they go create enough prison for everybody. Because whether you kill me now, whether you kill me, one thing that they fail to understand. I'm sorry, I'm taking a lot of your time. One thing they fail to understand is the fact that obedience is a symbol of the man in the streets. So any person who is going through Nigerian pressure and being deprived of his function, his fundamental human right, is an obedience. If you know very well that because of what the government is doing, you cannot feed, you cannot take care of your children. Your daughters are being molested by politicians in Abuja. They are being slept with. They are sold out into the. If you know that you've taken a little bit, or you've suffered a little bit in the hands of these politicians, you are automatically an obedient. Forget about the fact whether they give you money today, because whether you know in the depth of your heart that these guys are not credible. And Tinubu, with all due respect, I think to some extent, even. I'm from Niger Delta, but the truth about it is that we should start our inner cleansing from inside. We should start our inner cleansing from inside.
We know where they repeat that. We know where people don't understand what that word means. Inner cleansing,
so the inner cleansing, means So inner cleansing means that Tinubu is not bigger than the Oba of Lagos.
No, it shouldn't.
You understand? Yes. Oba of Lagos can call him and say, "Wa Joko, Jaba Estoro." To get if you continue like this, you will die. Except you are an occult man and you want to use people's head for sacrifice. But if not, you will respect yourself. These fights that they are pushing obedience to, let them be rest assured that even in diaspora, they will be tired. Their family will have no place to hide. Their relative will have no place to hide. And it will go in history that people spoke up. So there is no going back on this. They better tell Nigerians the truth and say that because of the fact that Tinubu has something to do with drugs and he has a falsified document, that is enough for him to be kicked out. We cannot applaud a drug baron to be Nigerian president. It can never ever happen in this world. And even God shuns it. It can never happen, and God shuns it. And any person who is speaking against this, who is supporting Tinubu to say no, let us do that, the wrath of God will be on himself and his family and his children.
I will say
that's
amen
just
to
what
that,
I want to say.
multiple times. Fidelis, I love the fire. I love the energy. And I can bet it, right?
Oh boy.
A lot of people want to actually reciprocate same, Baba. Thank you.
They've eaten our own. They want to eat our children's own. That's what this was. Another 8 years of this same crop of idiots. Look, it's finished. There's no need for us to waste our time.
Thank you, sir.
No need to waste time. All this cut is long talk. Plan B, straight up.
Nice one.
ṣe campaign ti wa yìí wọ́n bẹ campaign ní ṣe é wọ́n gbé òun wá sọ fún ọ pé ẹ wá kó gbogbo búrẹ́dì ẹ kó kúrò nílùú ní campaign bá ẹ wá kó gbogbo kerosene ẹ dẹ̀ kó kúrò nílùú wọn ní ti sọ wá ní abúrakadàtì ó ní tẹ ẹ bá dẹ̀ kó gbogbo ẹ a máa wọlé a máa dìbò a máa láì sọ lọ́hùn.
wọ́n náà bùrù wọ́n náà kọ́ fi ṣe é.
ṣé ọlọ́run wá ní yín ni.
ṣé yorùbá náà wọ́n sọ ń lù ú.
èèbó ló fi sọ mo translate ẹ ní.
bọ́ba káwọ́ bá fi gbọ́ yìí.
ó ti yé mi sẹ́rí èèbó ló fi sọ èmi wá translate ó ní ẹ wá mú gbogbo kerosene ẹ kó kúrò lẹ̀ ẹ dẹ̀ kó gbogbo bread ẹ kó kúrò lẹ̀ gbogbo jerrycan tá a máa fi repo ẹ kó pamọ́ a máa dìbò àwọn wèrè kan wá gbé àwọn máa wọlé jẹ́lẹ́rì ìyá.
Tinubu cannot be a president in this country. Let's go. Yes. Tinubu cannot be Tinubu, I say, take my picture. Yes, Tinubu cannot be a president in this country. Yes. Still our mandate, and we must take it back. And you can continue. Yeah. Solidarity. Solidarity. Hallelujah. We must take our mandate back.
Hello there, Baba.
Hello, sir.
So sorry for keeping you waiting. Hello. Yeah, Ekrole, sir. Yeah. You are now connected. Everybody can hear you. Go on, sir.
Yeah, Oruko mi Tunde lati Dallas, Texas.
Oh, Sati, lati Dallas. How are you?
I really want to talk on 3 or 4 things if you give me the few minutes.
Of course, you have the time. Number one, if you can. Yeah, please.
Number one, some people a bit are outside the country. We know we want revolution, but we should not talk about people dying back home because I feel that's a bit being selfish. You cannot. I'm an obedient. I went to Nigeria to vote. Remember, I called you a few weeks ago that I had to leave because
Tinubu cannot be a president in this country.
We should not. We should not instigate people back home into killing themselves. But because if you really study that thing, I listen to your program every day.
Yes, sir.
I see even the judiciary now are scared. This evening in Abuja, some people went to the army barracks to demonstrate that they should either cancel election or army should take over. So let's not instigate people because everybody is angry. The tension is there. But by God's grace, I feel with the exposures you've been making on the chief judge, judiciary, even the politicians, even presidency, they are not. If you see, most of us said something today that Buhari is not going to stay one day after in office. That's SGF. Those things you are doing like this, all things are making all these people scared. They have never been this scared because it's always do election, go to court, do what you want to do, move on. But now things are changing. So we should not make people. We should not make people. Revolution will
more
happen.
agitated, because in this case we cannot talk. We cannot be very honest. Everything is tense right now.
Exactly.
Let's not pretend
Especially
it's tense.
those of us.
Because in the midst, right? You know, part of what actually makes it more tense right now is because we have so many fake news going around. We have so many tribal divisive rhetoric going about. So you are right. Exactly. If there's going to be anywhere healthy where people can actually sit back, relax, and understand what is going on before they decide on anything, it should be here, not rile them. I agree with you, but it's a free opinion from that person. But I love the fact that you pointed it out. Okay, please continue, sir.
Yes, sir. Then two, if you see MC Oluomo, MC Oluomo has been back in Atlanta for the past 4-5 days.
Really?
Yes. From a 100% reliable source. He's been back in Atlanta after you've destroyed Nigeria. MC Oluomo is not a MC Oluomo, one mistake people do is he's not a citizen.
In America,
he's a 10 years green card holder. Just like what you did about the London this thing, let's do it too in US, write the embassy, write IRS, write everybody, write human rights, whatever, or anything, write immigration, US immigration, that this person cannot create tension back home and now come and be enjoyed. If his kids are here enjoying, look at Instagram, look at, there's this thing, Linda something, Ikedia also, I don't know, Instablog. Instablog. Look at what his daughter and his son were saying about Nigerians. If they are enjoying it, their father should not enjoy that thing. Okay, for example, Sebariro Leibai.
Yes, sir.
Sanwo-Olu just used us for election. BRT that because of election, he reduced to 50%. This evening, they returned it back to 100% fair.
No.
So
they said they did it because of Naira scarcity. Now, people are still using Naira to buy Naira right now. The economy hasn't returned.
Still available.
Go on.
So we should try, those of us from here, put pressure through international organizations, everything. Look at the shame that is happening now. The vice president of the United States is in Africa. She's in Ghana. She'll go to Kenya. Nigeria, the so-called giant of Africa, is not involved because of the kind of bad leaders we have.
They are there bragging about rigged election, and it doesn't. They don't even know the economy implication of that. They don't care because it's free money, and they are unaccountable for whatever they steal. So it's unfortunate. Continue.
To close my if we don't do something about Tinubu, Nigerian passport is useless. Let me tell you my experience when I was coming back.
Please.
I'm a citizen of United States.
An American.
So, I'll fly to Nigeria with my my Nigerian passport, enter with my US passport, because when you enter with your US passport, you don't have to stress, you have lines for citizens. Do you know what I did? I want to see reaction of people. I now used my Nigerian passport. Do you know they delayed me for more than 2-3 hours?
Where is that?
Asking me what did I go? In Dallas, Texas.
Wow.
And I have my American passport. Why am I bringing that story? They've not even sworn in a drug law. We're already going through that. When they now swear, I pity for people who have only Nigerian passport. We have to do something if we don't want to suffer.
You are talking to me.
Your program. Yeah, we're enjoying your program, and if a lot of things like this can happen, people back home can become aware. We have to do something. Thank you. I appreciate
you. And God bless you, sir, for sharing this with us tonight. Sir. I think we needed it. And thank you so much for that. So I'll take just one more call, and that will be us. So I've got my residence card here, right? So which means this is more valuable than a green passport, yeah? Then saying that you feel sorry for us. If I want to go anywhere right now, I should just get myself ready. When I hold that green passport, I'll just be like, whatever comes my way. Or maybe I will just have to take a beke and then my children with their own red passport, and I can just smuggle myself between them. So this is the time we don't have a drug dealer in charge of Nigeria. So when the drug dealer is in charge, you better just stay where you are. Don't go anywhere. Hello there.
Hey, Mayagu, how are you?
I am very well, sir. How are you?
Yeah, nice to call you again.
It's a pleasure that you are returning the call again.
All right, Mayagu.
Thank you. Please.
All right. Fantastic. Right. This guy that somebody spoke to you now, and he said that the people in government are scared. If he said that people in government are scared, well, I can understand. But one other thing, he does not understand the mindset of the Fulanis or the outside. If you really understand the mindset of the Fulanis of these Fulanis who are actually behind the crisis that is going on now. Like I mentioned before, Tinubu was the right person to use as a tool, and it's been used. If you understand the mindset of the Fulanis, you will know that they are not scared of anything. They have the thing that Nigeria is a given right. That is something that absolutely belongs to them, and they have to decide the way Nigeria will run. There was a video you showed some time ago here, whereby the guy, because what is happening now is deeper than most of us can see on the surface. It is very deep. That video, the vice president for Tinubu said, restructure under my boot. That was the guy said.
Restructure my boot.
Under my boot. I know what that means, because they know that the problem we have in Nigeria is our constitution.
No, you know how I see it. You know how I see it, Baba. That moment when I first heard that word, it was like somebody saying the Biafrans, the Yorubas, the Southerners, who are mostly the champion for restructuring in Nigeria. He just said, all of you Southerners, all of you my put. That's what he did.
Exactly.
Like all of you,
my foot.
If you
look at that age of that man, that vice president,
shitty man.
He's still a young man. He's still a young man.
He's 57 or so. He's 56 or so. I think it's 55 or 56. He's a young guy too.
Exactly. He has been educated. He has been educated how to do. Exactly. He has been educated how to discern the dominance of the Fulanis right from childhood, those people. All these things that is happening, whatever people are saying that they're scared.
They are scared. No, they are not scared in that way. Literally.
They're not scared for it. And it's a work plan thing.
It's like everything happening right now is happening exactly the way they wanted it to happen. That's your own theory, yeah?
And that's the way they plan it. So, but in a situation, things evolve because one thing leads to another. All right?
Right.
After 26, let's hope after 26, because we know what is going to happen anyway, eventually, that Tinubu, they will not cancel this election. And
they will swear him in. I also believe that they are going to do the swearing in. They don't give all this court and everything, right?
100%.
They are not worried per
100%.
se. But we are waiting to see what this surprise will be. They are not worried in that regard.
Exactly.
I agree with you. They don't seem to be worried about what they have done. But in a way, because usually when you do election like this, people would have moved on by now. I mean, let's move on, Joe. They've done their rigging and all that. But you see, with this obedient not moving away, and they seems to still be so neatly, connected. So that is what is giving them concern. Like, what do we need to do to stop this? What can we do? That can be their worries. But scared? Maybe scared is far-fetched. They are not scared. I agree with you, Baba.
Yeah, but eventually, that the revolution, the violence would naturally erupt. The violence will literally erupt because people who just did not support this election would be so much anger that violence we are talking about will naturally evolve. And this government will be ungovernable, and the demonstration will be happening here and there. And there's nowhere, even, let me tell you, the worst part of it is for, if you are somebody from the eastern region, an Igbo man, just think about it. Yesterday, you did mention, just look at in England, a Scottish man, in Scotland, a man who does not look well is the leader
in Scotland, though. His papa came here sometimes in 1970s, marrying Mama, and then went on to give birth to him. And today, 37 years old Yusuf is now our first minister in Scotland. Amazing guy. I mean, he's an amazing guy. You need to meet the guy.
Britain.
Go on.
Look at in Britain. Yeah, look at in Britain. A man who does not look pure white is the prime minister of Britain.
It's true. Rishi Sunak.
Yeah. Look at the mayor of London. Yeah.
That is
Khan. Khan. Then you go back to Nigeria. You refer the same situation to Nigeria. And somebody said to you, you cannot be president of Nigeria because you come from certain, and this is something that you look in the certain ethnic tribal, come from certain section of Nigeria, that you are not entitled to be president of Nigeria. How would you feel as a man? So that one have destroyed you. I'm telling you that even you, your children, your grandchildren, they have no future in Nigeria.
Sad. See, somebody was talking about MC Oluomo's son that lives in America there too. The guy on Instagram, right? After they did what they did in Nigeria, if you check your screen, my brother, if you are watching, let me bold in it right now, right? If you are watching your screen, sir, yeah, you will see this post from MC Oluomo's son from America, right? And he said, "Now we get Lagos, now we get Nigeria, but Nigeria control." Right? And I said, free announcement for those at the back. Sanwo-Olu is going to be this, and that. And, this is a young boy. Okay? He said, Obi is a boy. I am even smarter than him. That's MC Olueron's son. And look at him. This is him. So when people felt like they can't destroy Nigeria and then go give life to their children abroad, and the children of other people are being turned to political thug, they are then turned to tribal and ethnic xenophobic, criminals. So people are going to have to give it to them back to back. Do you have one more thing you want to add just before we call it a night? My time is almost up now.
Yes. So what I'm saying to people from Biafra, people forget this. Biafra, Oduduwa, whether we like it or not, we will naturally come to the round table. Everybody will move their way. That's all. That is the solution. Any other thing that any other body is talking about, I don't think that we have any other solution.
It's just a waste of time. It's like kicking the can down the road. You might think you've kicked the can away. When you get down there, you will see it. That's what Nigeria is. Sir, thank you so much.
If you look at it, if you look at all these, trust me, all these area of Sokoto, area of Gangore, area of Congo, they're all behind the head. They know what is happening.
They do.
Why not call their people and say, stop this nonsense? All those areas can say, stop this nonsense. You cannot go and say, structure under my vote. Why not do anything? Call their boss, because these are their boss. They are their boss. They have control over this boss. We want to do Nigeria. Give this back. If you want to do one Nigeria, let's give these people the mandate. But they all keep quiet because they know.
Baba, thank you so much. One of the things we have learned from the election is that Nigeria is not one. Nigeria is even more divided than we thought. So if anybody is saying that we should forget all we've seen through their charade, that person doesn't really love Nigeria. He's an hypocrite. And I would advise everyone to stay away from such people. Honesty, heal a nation. They say honesty healed in the country, or honesty, or sincerity, truthfulness, they actually are the ingredient that heal country and the people. Baba, thanks so much for sharing your evening with me. Okay, you should have a good one. All right,
thank you. God bless you.
Amen.
Keep your good work. God bless you and your family.
Amen, and yours too,
right.
and everybody's as well. Thank you so much for joining me. We are coming to the end of a match. My fellow Yoruba Unionists, all of us on the Telegram. Tomorrow, I am going to try and address us. It is going to be a group broadcast. I am going to brief you all where we are and then where we are going next. Now that their charade is over, the consequences of that charade is what is now what everyone is trying to deal with. We believe that it is now safe for our union volunteers back in Yoruba land, for them to go back in their evangelism, winning souls for the Yoruba nation, giving support to the vulnerable in our land, and giving the voice to those that theirs have been in a way taken away or buried. Now we call our work thankless, which means we're not doing it because we want somebody to thank us. We're doing this because in number, with good number, we have a chance of changing our own destiny. We have a chance of stopping complaining about Nigeria. In fact, we will have a chance of taking back our life, even including our land, from Nigeria. Now, we don't know how long this is going to take us, but we are happy to do it bit by bit. My fellow unionists, it's going to be another time. Starting from April, you will get briefed on here, and we are going to go back again to our people as we do all the time. Thank you for always. Thank you for spending your evening with me. Everybody in the Temple of Truth, I've shared what I think, what I believe that we should all know. Now you've taken them in. Some of you probably disagree. Others agreed. Whatever you have picked up from this conversation tonight, just remember this. You and I are meeting and talking today because we are identified as victims of the failed government in Nigeria. Whether you are home or abroad, if you want to be honest with yourself, you will say there is a reason for everybody to be concerned about what is going on in Nigeria, even if you don't believe in Nigeria, which most of us don't. But the fact that it still does exist, it is an existential threat to all of us, including the criminals who are in charge of it. Now, if you have nothing to fight with, please use your voice. Every corner of the globe that you find yourself, please don't shut your eyes at injustice. Don't think until it touches you. In this case, nobody is safe. Not even their supporters. Everybody is at risk of the consequences of what they are doing. And if we all have a chance to choose, please remember, you will choose your nation, no matter what Nigeria has done to you, no matter what Nigeria has, the shege Nigeria has, in a way, instill in you. A time is coming that when you will be given that choice, a real one. And guess what? When you make that choice, it will count. It won't be for election. It will be a choice about your life, your future, and the generation that are going to come after you. A referendum. It's still sounding like, don't worry. Nigeria has a way of disappointing you. When the disappointment gets to a stage, you will then, it's a stage of truth. You stop wasting time and you will begin to believe in what I have said. Until then, I am going nowhere. I will be proving to you every night, every day of my life, why you should never, if you have a chance, waste any single time trying to save Nigeria. You can't save Nigeria, or you can save Nigerians. Nigerians can save themselves by letting everybody go their separate ways. We no go die, I'll see you some other time. Thank you so much for spending your evening with me once again. Don't leave without liking that broadcast, okay? Remember, 8 p.m. is now 8 p.m. UK time is now 8 p.m. UK 8 p.m. Nigeria. Set your notification. Don't join me from 9 p.m. because you are so used to it. It is 8 p.m. now. I'll see you some other time. So good night.
Thank you. Máyégún làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dódòdó.
Máyégún dáyàrí láyé bí nọ́mbà wá.
Máyégún làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dódòdó.
Máyégún dáyàrí láyé bí nọ́mbà wá.
Máyégún ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ará ìlú.
Máyégún dáyàrí láyé bí nọ́mbà wá.
Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube.
Máyégún dáyàrí láyé bí nọ́mbà wá.
Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Máyégún já wa sí.
Máyégún dáyàrí láyé bí nọ́mbà wá.
Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o.
Máyégún dáyàrí láyé bí nọ́mbà wá.
Bó bá ṣe eré àní Máyégún máa wí.
Máyégún dáyàrí láyé bí nọ́mbà wá.
Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o.
Máyégún dáyàrí láyé bí nọ́mbà wá.
Máyégún dáyàrí pòlítíkò.
Máyégún dáyàrí láyé bí nọ́mbà wá.
Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Máyégún.
Máyégún dáyàrí láyé bí nọ́mbà wá.
Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o.
Máyégún dáyàrí láyé bí nọ́mbà wá.
Àní Máyégún làwa mọ̀ tó dódòdó.
Máyégún dáyàrí láyé bí nọ́mbà wá.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé. Máyégún ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Lórí Facebook.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Lórí YouTube.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Kí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o, Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀, Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Oníkan ṣáàtì ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Ha! Kì máa yí ṣe eré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Kì máa yí ṣe eré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o, ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣàyè tú wọn síta.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
tẹnitẹni ọmọ máyégún ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́run sọ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù bọ́tà ń lè rí bóníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sè mọ́bẹ̀. èèpo ọ̀bọ lọmọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ ó ti jọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ bùyà àìsíwọ́lu ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o ó kó ẹni tó bá dán wò á kàmù máyé ó ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ túnra kì Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ túnra kì o ẹni bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò òní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ túnra kì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ túnra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.